Chapter 569. When Gu Linshin raised his dark eyes, Luo Luoli's mind suddenly flashed with the scene in the car. Her legs went weak. Then she ran upstairs like a whirlwind. She ran back to her room and closed the door. Her body leaned against the door. His little heart was trembling nonstop. Gu Linshin, who was sitting on the sofa in the living room downstairs, frowned at Luo Luoli's reaction. During dinner, Luo Luoli kept her head down. She didn't speak and only picked up the food in front of her. Gu Linshin saw her like this and picked up some food for her. Luo Luoli stared at the food in her bowl as if she was frightened. Then she started eating. Eat slowly. Gu Linshin's face darkened. Luo Luoli slowed down her movements. But she still ran upstairs as soon as she finished eating. Her reason was, I want to study. What a good reason. Exams were coming. She wanted to study hard every day. However, when she reached her room, Luo Luoli was not in the mood to study. She felt awkward being under the same roof as Gu Linshin. Just as Luo Luoli bent her legs and leaned against the desk, the door opened without her permission. She didn't even need to look to know who the person was. Luo Luoli was numb to this kind of behavior that didn't respect her privacy. She silently put down her legs and leaned over the book, reading carefully. She didn't look at Gu Linshin, but every nerve in her body was affected by Gu Linshin's actions. Gu Linshin sat next to the desk with his long legs crossed. There was not enough space for a child to sit in the middle of her seat. It was obvious how close he was. Is there anything you don't know? Gu Linshin glanced at the book she was studying and asked. Luo Luoli shook her head. No, don't you know that you have to look at your elders? Gu Linshin's voice was as authoritative as an elder's. Luo Luoli slowly raised her head and looked at Gu Linshin. She thought to herself, you can't do things like an elder. You're hiding from me. Gu Linshin narrowed his dark eyes. His gaze was cold. Luo Luoli's eyes flickered. No, do you think I can't tell? Why did he still ask? Gu Linshin's upper body suddenly. Luoli, who was in a tense state, shrank back in an overreaction. Come here. Gu's face darkened. Luo Luoli didn't move. Impatient, Gu Linshin grabbed her hand and pulled her to him. Luo Luoli almost suffocated. Her body leaned forward. She was in the same position as Gu Linshin, but she looked very embarrassed. How could she not? Her face was almost touching Gu Linshin's face. What are you afraid of? We're husband and wife. Gu Linshin's voice was low and magnetic. It was very pleasant and charming. But Luo Luoli's heart still jumped in panic. She lowered her head and looked down. Gu Linshin reached out and grabbed her chin, lifting her little face. Luo Luoli couldn't help but look into Gu Linshin's deep and sharp eyes. Do you feel disgusted when I touch you? Gu Linshin asked. He stared at her without blinking. Luo Luoli didn't say anything. She tried to break free from the strong hand that was holding her chin. Little uncle, Before Luo Luoli could say anything, Gu Linshin pulled her over. Little uncle. Luo Luoli was so frightened that her face turned pale. Then her body trembled. Gu Linshin touched her, just like he did in the car. No. Luo Luoli trembled and sobbed. Are you disgusted? Luo Luoli bit her lip and gasped for breath. I'm not chin-shu edging. Luo Luoli's heart seemed to stop. She looked at Gu Linshin in shock. Do you think I don't know what you're thinking? Luo Luoli didn't dare to face Gu Linshin. She wanted to break free from Gu Linshin and escape. But Gu Linshin didn't let go. Please let go of me. Luo Luoli was almost crying. I'm not like chin-shu edging. We're husband and wife. Gu Linshin reminded her again patiently. He tightened his grip on the struggling woman. But I treat you like my biological uncle. I've always called you that, but you. Luo Luoli couldn't say it. Gu Linshin helped her to say, but I want to take things further with you. This was the truth, but Luo Luoli couldn't say it. She stood there in a daze, embarrassed. I only touched you after we got married. You kissed me before we got married. Luo Luoli complained. Don't think that she didn't remember. Then why didn't you resist? I resisted, but I wasn't strong enough to break free from you. Really? I think you enjoyed it very much. Nonsense. Luo Luoli was so angry that she wanted to get off him. However, Gu Linshin's grip was so tight that she felt like she was going to break. Suddenly, she stopped struggling and her expression stiffened. "What's wrong?" Gu Linshin asked, even though he knew the answer. His voice had become extremely hoarse, as if it had been corroded by something terrifying and dangerous. Don't touch me. What are you afraid of? I haven't done anything yet." Gu Linshan said like a hooligan. Luo Luoli turned her face away in shame. It was already so obvious. What could he do? Compared to Gu Linshan's level of hooliganism, she was like a kindergarten child. "If I wanted you, you wouldn't be able to escape from my grasp." Gu Linshan wrapped his arms around her, his breath blowing on the delicate skin of her neck. "So, don't try to find an opportunity to leave my side." Luo Luoli felt that the skin on her neck was about to be scalded. Her breathing became unstable. However, this instability came from Gu Linshan's words. What did he mean by try to find an opportunity to leave my side? It seemed like he was warning her about something. Luo Luoli knew that she had just handed in her college application form today. She didn't intend to tell Gu Linshan about this. She just wanted to escape to another city to attend university without anyone knowing. It couldn't be that Gu Linshan found out, right? That was impossible. Gu Linshan wouldn't be so bored as to ask the principal to inform him whenever there was any movement. Therefore, Luo Luoli felt that she was just scaring herself. Why would I escape? I don't have a chance." Luo Luoli pretended that she didn't know anything as she said this. The corners of Gu Linshan's mouth twitched slightly as he smiled coldly. "That's good." Luo Luoli thought to herself that she should just obey Gu Linshan before she was admitted to the university. After all, Gu Linshan wasn't a person who could be easily fooled. If he found out, she would have no way out. On the other hand, she felt extremely depressed. Gu Linshan was just using her as a shield for her family to force her into marriage. Why did he have to go to this extent? She was really selfish for his sake. Chapter 570. "Just read it like this," Gu Linshan insisted. "Why do you have to do this? I'm not used to it." "It's precisely because you're not used to it that you have to sit here until you get used to it," Gu Linshan said matter-of-factly. Luo Luoli felt that it was dignified. When the book was in her hands, Luo Luoli couldn't read a single word. Perhaps she could force herself to read it, but her thoughts drifted to the past. The things that Qin Xuejing had done to her in the past. It was so disgusting that she wanted to vomit when he touched her. However, Gu Linshan had done so many terrible things to her. She only felt anger and fear, but she didn't feel disgusted. Why? What was the difference? They were both elders. They weren't blood-related. However, even if she didn't feel disgusted by Gu Linshan, it couldn't erase the fact that he was her family. So what if they weren't blood-related? From the very beginning, the definition was that he was her little uncle and nothing else. It was precisely because she didn't feel disgusted that she couldn't be with Gu Linshan. Therefore, she had to leave Gu Linshan. Didn't they say that when couples lived apart, there would be all kinds of problems that would lead to divorce? Luo Luoli left Gu Linshan with such expectations. Tang Bao and Wan Malay were having a private dinner in the company's lounge. Wan Malay said, "Let me tell you something." "What?" "The young master has sent someone to the place where you used to travel." Wan Malay paid attention to Tang Bao's expression as she spoke. Tang Bao paused in her action of picking up food. The place where they traveled together. That was the last time she and Di Haoyin were together before she lost her memory. And the place where Di Haoyin fell off the cliff. When she recalled it again, Tang Bao's heart still felt tight and uncomfortable. That was her nightmare. It was also the reason why she couldn't let go of Di Haoyin. If Di Haoyin managed to find out where they were traveling, did that mean that she could return to Di Haoyin's side like before? Could he? However, everyone knew what would happen in the future. She didn't have the ability to predict the future, so every step she took was very careful to avoid hurting the child in her belly. That was the most important thing. "You're not happy?" Wan Malay felt that this expression was different from what she had imagined. "Why should I be happy? You know, as long as young Master D finds out where you went, it means that some people's lies will be exposed. The young master didn't look for you to get a divorce. He wanted to spend the new year with you. They're about to get divorced. Why would they want to spend the new year together?" Wan Malay analyzed for her. Even if Wan Malay did not analyze it, Tang Bao would have understood this. But now, she really didn't dare to gamble. So what if he finds out? He didn't regain his memory, Tang Bao mumbled. But this is already very good. At least the young Master D will start to believe you. We'll talk about it when the time comes. Hurry up and eat, it's getting cold. It was obvious that Tang Bao was no longer willing to talk about this topic. What was going on? Tang Bao was not like this in the past. Hearing such exciting news, she did not even have any emotional fluctuations. This was not normal. Don't tell me. You've already given up on the young Master D? Wan Malay asked tentatively. I'm not giving up. I'm just going with the flow. It's just whatever. Because after so many things, I realized that some things can't be forced. It's useless. So, I might as well do nothing. Wan Malay thought about it and felt that this made sense. Moreover, after Tang Bao moved out of the castle, she must have had a deep understanding of herself. That was why she said such words. Then let me ask you, what if the young Master D comes to find you and asks you to go back to the castle? Wan Malay asked again. I won't go. Really? Tang Bao raised her watery eyes and looked at Wan Malay. She looked at her seriously and said, I won't go. Wan Malay thought to herself that moving out of the castle had indeed caused her quite a bit of shock. She had to tell He Ju about this matter quickly, in case Tang Bao rejected Di Hao Ian, and Di Hao Ian was embarrassed and did something terrible again. When that time came, the unlucky one would definitely be Tang Bao. Tang Bao had to pay attention to her stomach almost every day. She looked in the mirror when she took a shower. According to the time, it should have been 2 months. However, nothing could be seen from her stomach now. It was still flat. However, she had not been going to the hospital. Okay? Should she go to the hospital when Di Hao Ian's attention was not on her? When Tang Bao returned to the bed after taking a shower, her phone rang. Tang Bao was stunned for a moment and looked at her phone. It was placed on the windowsill at the furthest place from her, because she was worried about the radiation. Helpless, she got up from the bed to get her phone. Who sent her a text message? When she saw the number, Tang Bao's fingers froze. Then, she opened the message. The content was, within 3 days, I want to see you in the castle. Bear the consequences. It carried an aura that could not be disobeyed. Tang Bao was stunned at first. Di Hao Ian had agreed to all 3 of her requests? Or had he already investigated everything in the village? It was impossible for him to be so fast. Tang Bao did not know what Di Hao Ian was thinking. However, to be honest, she did not want to talk to him. She deleted the text message, turned off her phone, and went back to bed to lie down. Bear the consequences? These words were almost the same as the fear of a death sentence. However, Tang Bao did not want to live in the castle anymore. She really did not want to live in the castle at all. At most, she was afraid that something bad would happen to her if she got close to Di Hao Ian. Tang Bao fell asleep soon. The next morning, Tang Bao turned on her phone. There were no calls or messages, which made her feel a little relieved. At the breakfast table, Tang Bao thought about going to hospital today while eating breakfast. The text message was sent by Di Hao Ian last night. It would not appear so soon. Therefore, Tang Bao took the driver's car to the company. However, she did not enter the company. Instead, she called a taxi at the entrance. After getting into the car, she went straight to the hospital. In the hospital, at the end of the corridor, slightly away from the gynecology examination, Li Xinhuai and Di Lingwei were standing. Can't you accompany me to finish the examination? Li Xinhuai was full of grievances and stopped Di Lingwei from leaving. Look, I have my husband with me. Can you be a little independent? Are you pregnant or 70 or 80 years old? I have already accompanied you to check other tests. How can a man like me stay here? Di Lingwei's face was full of anger. If they were not in the hospital, he would have shouted out directly. She said that she was not feeling well and wanted to come for a checkup. When she came for a checkup, she wanted to check the gynecology. He was not free. Chapter 571. Di Lingwei was about to push Li Yuhuai away when he saw Tang Bao walking over from the other end of the corridor. Tang Bao also saw Di Lingwei and Li Yuhuai. After avoiding Di Hao Ian, She actually bumped into these two people here? What the hell? Should she check it or not? Dealing Yu's family had ulterior motives, so she definitely couldn't check. If she turned around and left without checking, wouldn't that be even more suspicious? Tang Bao looked very awkward. Li Yuhuai immediately went forward enthusiastically. Tang Bao, what a coincidence. What are you doing here? Second aunt. He called out to Li Yuhuai and then Di Lingwei behind her. Second uncle. What are you doing here? Don't tell me you gave brother Junbai a little sister? Ha ha. Li Yuhuai. Di Lingyue's face stiffened. Li Yuhuai came back to her senses. Of course not. I'm just doing a routine checkup. What about you? I'm also here for a checkup. Tang Bao was super awkward. Di Lingwei said, I'll wait for you over there. After saying that, he left. Tang Bao felt a little better. Why was he talking to an old man about a gynecological checkup? Li Yuhuai looked at Tang Bao and was a little confused. You're so young. Why do you need a checkup? Young people still need a checkup. Second aunt, you don't know, but young people nowadays have to be more careful. Tang Bao spouted nonsense seriously. Li Yuhuai thought about it and said, You're right. I have a friend's child who died of cervical cancer before she got married. It's too scary. So, I have to come for a checkup every 6 months. I really have to be very careful about my body. Let's go together. I've made an appointment with the specialist here. She'll check for you. Tang Bao thought about it. Wouldn't it be better if you let your specialist check? Wouldn't that be accurate? By then, she wouldn't be able to run away. Huh? No, I don't need a specialist. I know my own doctor. You know a doctor? What's his name? Was it reliable? Let me tell you, this specialist of mine has 30 years of clinical experience in gynecology. She is definitely better than other doctors. Listen to second aunt. The examination can't be sloppy. Li Yuhuai pulled Tang Bao away. Tang Bao really wanted to pull his hand back, turn around, and run away. In fact, she really pulled her hand back. Li Yuhuai was surprised. What's wrong? I'm sorry. I'm very nervous. I need to go to the toilet. Li Yuhuai smiled. What's there to be nervous about? How about this? When you're having your checkup, you don't have to wait for anyone. The doctor will do the checkup for you. Is that okay? Then, he pulled Tang Bao into the doctor's examination room again. A middle-aged woman was waiting inside. When he saw Li Yuhuai, he immediately stood up politely. This is our D family's daughter-in-law. She's also here for a gynecological examination. Can you help her first? Li Yuhuai said, No problem. Take off your pants and lie down. The doctor said very kindly. Tang Bao still stood there without moving. Li Yuhuai immediately understood and smiled. He said to the doctor, She's shy. I'll wait outside. Doctor, help her examine carefully. After Li Yuhuai went out, Tang Bao stood there and looked at the doctor nervously. Come on, it's okay. Don't be nervous. It's just a checkup. The doctor had never seen a gynecologist so nervous, but he still said patiently. Tang Bao felt that there was only one kind of person in this world who would be willing to take off their pants if they were asked to, and that was the gynecologist. Even if Di Haoyan asked her to take off her pants, she wouldn't be willing. Li Yuhuai was talking to Di Lingwei outside. She's having a checkup? Di Lingwei asked curiously. Yes. Why is she here for checkup? Didn't she break up with Di Haoyan? I think she must be feeling unwell somewhere. Otherwise, she wouldn't have come for checkup. Di Lingwei thought for a while and said, Let the doctor examine her carefully. After the checkup, find out what the problem is. This child is very smart. I know. Don't worry. About a few minutes later, Tang Bao walked out of the examination room with a normal expression. Li Yuhuai, who was waiting outside, immediately went forward and asked, How is it? How was the checkup? Is there any problem? I didn't ask about this. Tang Bao shook his head blankly. Child, how can you not ask about it? I'll help you ask the doctor. Li Yuhuai said and went into the examination room. As soon as she went in, her beautiful face turned pale. Oh my God! The gynecologist was tied to the chair with her hands tied behind her back. Her mouth was stuffed full of tissue paper and she was struggling. Tang Bao ran out of the hospital. He only felt that he was too unlucky. He bumped into that family when he was doing a gynecological examination. Was there anything worse than this? When he passed by the pharmacy, Tang Bao went in to buy a pregnancy test before returning to the company. He hid in the company's washroom. Looking at the 2 red lines on the pregnancy test, Tang Bao really saw it. He was not surprised at all. She was really pregnant. She even went to the trouble of testing. Tang Bao stroked his flat belly and thought that it was fortunate that he did not check in front of Li Yuhui. Otherwise, everyone would immediately know. Since she was pregnant until now, except for sleeping excessively, she did not have any symptoms of nausea. You're really good. Mommy will definitely protect you well. It would not be like the previous child. 1 day passed, 2 days passed. On the 3rd day, Di Haoyan returned to the castle. Without asking the servants, he knew that there was no Tang Bao in the castle. She actually dared not to appear. His sinister eyes made people feel terrified. The cold air emitted from his body made people not dare to approach him. Di Haoyan took out his phone and put it to his ear. His face was cold. Where are you? Tang Bao was eating at the moment, and Wan Malay was beside him. He glanced at Wan Malay and walked out of the restaurant to answer the phone. I'm eating at home. You mean you'll come over after eating? No. Di Haoyan's dark eyes sharpened. That's strange. Why should I go over? Where am I going? Are you going to treat me to a meal? Tang Bao asked innocently. Of course, Di Haoyan knew that Tang Bao was playing dumb. His face was as cold as an ice cellar. Don't you want the company anymore? Di Haoyan's cold voice came through. Tang Bao was instantly angry. Do you have nothing else to threaten me with? I won't repeat myself. Di Haoyan did not allow for any disobedience. Tang Bao could not help but say, do whatever you want. I don't want the company anymore. After shouting, he hung up the phone. Di Haoyan was so angry that the entire castle was about to be destroyed by his aura. Wan Malay walked over and looked at the furious Tang Bao. She asked, what did the young master do again? How do you know it's him? Tang Bao was slightly stunned. Chapter 572. Tang Bao didn't want to talk to Wan Malay about her unique relationship with Di Haoyan. She said, he wants to buy my company again. There's a meeting tomorrow. Be prepared. No way. Wan Malay wailed. Very much so. He's a devil, a demon. Tang Bao labeled Di Haoyan mercilessly. What did you do to provoke him? Wan Malay asked. You know he's a demon, but you still provoked him? Tang Bao got angry when she heard this. She glared at Wan Malay. I provoked him? Do I dare? Then what happened? Tang Bao's face suddenly became evasive. She thought that there was nothing to hide, so she said it directly. She also wanted to hear what Wan Malay had to say. He asked me to return to the castle within 3 days. Wan Malay immediately understood. You didn't agree? Yes. Don't reject him directly. You have to state your conditions. At the very least, you can't let Lan Wanra live in the castle. Wan Malay gave her an idea. Tang Bao looked at Wan Malay helplessly. I did, and then he asked me to leave. After that, he asked me to return to the castle within 3 days. I don't know what he's thinking. Tell me, did he agree to my conditions? Wan Malay didn't care too much about Tang Bao's question. She cared about another one. Did you only state one condition? Based on her understanding of Tang Bao, it was not her style to state one condition. 3. Wan Malay looked at her and wanted to hear more. Lan Wanru is not allowed to live in the castle. Return Changsheng to her. And don't touch me. The first 2 conditions are acceptable. Do you think the last one will work? Why do I feel that you don't want to go back? Tang Bao thought that they hadn't been friends for nothing after all these years. He was able to analyze her true intentions at a glance. However, Tang Bao could not let Wan Malay think that there was a reason behind her actions and that she was making things difficult for her child. Just as she was about to find an excuse, she felt a weight on her shoulders. Wan Malay patted her shoulder and said, I understand. You're like this because young Master D broke your heart. You just want to give him a test. I think this test is right and worth it. Tang Bao wandered around the company during the day. When she checked the information on the internet, it was said that the child could not sit all the time and had to move around. Only with normal blood circulation could the child develop better. Then, she walked to the door of Yu Lianlian's office and pushed the door open as if it was her own. Perhaps the Tang Bao's movements were too light, or perhaps the people inside were too engrossed. They did not notice that someone had entered. From the back, it could be seen that the person was Zhou Jisen. His back was facing Tang Bao, and he was facing the window. Yu Lianlian squatted in front of Zhou Jisen, and Zhou Jisen actually let out an abnormal groan. Tang Bao stood there and was a little slow to understand what was going on. Zhou Jisen's body suddenly trembled, and he stopped moving. He had not come to Kuchun for a long time, so he forgot that there was someone here who did not like to knock on the door when entering the office. What's wrong? Yu Lianlian also noticed that something was wrong in the office. She stood up and saw Tang Bao standing there and looking at them in a daze. If Tang Bao still did not know what these two people were doing at this time, she would be a kindergarten child. Yu Lianlian's face was shocked. Then she smiled and did not forget to take a tissue from the side to wipe her mouth. You guys continue. I still have something to do, so I'll leave first. There's no hurry. What's the matter? Yu Lianlian asked calmly. At this moment, Zhou Jisen turned around and looked at Tang Bao. He greeted him. Hello, President Tang. Hi. Hello. I'm here to talk to Vice President Yu about Changsheng. I'll let Vice President Yu tell you the details. Goodbye. He did not look away, was not shy, and did not feel guilty. After he finished speaking, he walked past Tang Bao and left. Tang Bao, on the other hand, blushed. It was as if he was the one who did it. You came to look for me for something, right? Yu Lianlian raised her hand and asked him to sit down. Tang Bao sat down on the sofa. He seemed to have not completely recovered from the scene just now. No, I was just bored, so I wanted to come and chat with you. In any company, no boss would say that he was bored and chatted with his subordinates. Yu Lianlian looked at Tang Bao's face, which was still red, and leaned over slightly. She asked, Did you see it? It's okay. We're all adults. It's okay if you saw it. Haha, I didn't see anything. Tang Bao would never admit it. He would not admit it even if he was lying through his teeth. She would never have thought that the serious Zhou Jisen would be so flirtatious. He actually asked Yu Lianlian to do it for him in the office. It's okay if you saw it. We're an old couple. We used to do it often. Didn't you and the young master do it too? Yu Lianlian looked at him with a knowing look. Tang Bao's face stiffened. He felt that his face was burning. He cleared his throat and changed the topic. Just now, Vice President Zhou. He shouldn't be called Vice President Zhou now. He should be called President Zhou. His official title was high in tea, but it was low in Kuchun. He was really wronged. He wasn't unhappy just now. He was quite enjoying it, Yu Lianlian said with a smile. Tang Bao, F***CK, that was not what she was talking about. She was not interested in whether he enjoyed it or not. I'm talking about President Zhou. What's the matter about Changsheng? Oh, you're talking about this. Yu Lianlian took it naturally. T has already returned Changsheng. What? Returned it? When? Tang Bao was stunned. It was planned a while ago. The relevant matters were just settled yesterday. Tang Bao was very surprised. She felt that Di Haoyan would not agree to any of the 3 conditions she proposed. Why did he return Changsheng? Don't worry. Even if Changsheng is returned, T will not be at a disadvantage. Of course, Tang Bao was not worried about this. She would rather Di Haoyan be at a disadvantage. To him, Changsheng was just a drop in the ocean. It was just that she was too shocked by this matter. Tang Bao walked out of Yu Lianlian's office and thought about it. If Di Haoyan agreed, what about the other 2? Did they agree to? Tang Bao shook his head at his own whimsical thoughts. No. How could Di Haoyan let Lan Wanru leave the castle? Last time, Lan Wanru was schemed to leave by her. Di Haoyan's expression was not good. Moreover, he took the initiative to let Lan Wanru leave. Tang Bao did not want to think too much and did not want to return to the castle, unless Di Haoyan regained his memory. Chapter 573. Seriously, have I become stupid? Yes, it's easy to become stupid when you're pregnant. Tang Bao felt that it was caused by the pregnancy. He would never admit that he was born stupid. Back in the office, Wan Malay came over with a document and asked Tang Bao, Look, are there any problems with the main points listed in the conference room? Tang Bao stretched his head over and looked at the words on the document. He sighed and sat down on the sofa. There's no need to prepare. What do you mean? Opportunities are for those who are prepared, Tang Bao said. Yes, that's right, Wan Malay agreed. But it's useless here in Di Hao Hien, Tang Bao said helplessly. She really didn't want to hurt Wan Malay or give up on herself. Wan Malay was speechless, because Tang Bao hit the nail on the head. So that's it. I went to Yu Lianlian's office just now. Zhou Jisen was there too. He came to tell us that T had returned the acquisition of Changshan. Wan Malay's head turned slowly. That means you're going back to the castle? Isn't that one of the 3 conditions? If he doesn't meet your other 2 conditions, it's useless to exchange Changshan back. Tang Bao looked at her hesitantly. Do you really think so? I'll help you ask Ju. Wan Malay was so excited that she was about to get her phone. Wait, what's wrong? Wan Malay looked back at her. Don't ask. Why? Tang Bao looked at Wan Malay with a black face. You can ask if Lan Wanru is in the castle. Do you want to ask if Ju Di Hao Ian will touch me? As long as Lan Wanru is not in the castle, it's fine. The last condition is that the young master is such a strong and wild man. Do you think it's possible for him not to touch you? Tang Bao, since he's already compromised, give him a way out. Huh? Don't worry about it. Tang Bao stood up and went back to the lounge, closing the door behind him. Wan Malay stood there, puzzled. What's wrong with the Tang Bao? Of course, Tang Bao had her own concerns. It wasn't that she didn't want to return to the castle, but that she didn't dare to. She wished she could run as far away as possible the moment she saw Di Hao Yin. Lying on the bed, he felt very restless. Through the door, she could hear someone knocking on the office door. Then, she heard Yu Lianlian ask anxiously, "Where's President Tang?" Tang Bao opened the door, walked out and asked, "What's wrong?" "President Tang, why is T buying Kuchun again?" Yu Lianlian was confused. Wan Malay glared at Tang Bao. It was as if he was asking, "What do you think we should do?" Tang Bao lowered his gaze slightly. He didn't look as flustered as when Di Hao Yin first mentioned the acquisition. It was as if it had nothing to do with her. However, she couldn't help but feel dejected. It seemed that the company that Tang Qishan left to her would be gone. It probably didn't matter. After all, the 2 of them were husband and wife. Tang Bao looked up at Yu Lianlian and Wan Malay and said, "You 2 should look for jobs in advance." Wan Malay was speechless. Yu Lianlian was speechless. "Vice President Yu, it's okay. You can go back to the entertainment industry. It's just that Malay, you're more troublesome. This is your first job after graduation. Don't be bullied in an unfamiliar place. But it's okay. You have experience here." Wan Malay said unhappily, "Yes, I have experience being bullied by you. All right, Vice President Yu. You and Zhou Jisen are husband and wife. Can you ask Zhou Jisen to find a job for Wan Malay? You know that Malay is very serious about her work. She's even more serious than the boss." Tang Bao strongly recommended. Yu Lianlian held her forehead helplessly and said, "It's still too early to talk about this. Then do you think Di Hao Yin will let me go? You can resist." Tang Bao pursed his lips and didn't say anything. He thought to himself, how many times did she resist Di Hao Yin? However, every time, it was a tragic sight. "Yes, President Tang, we have to do something. We can't just sit here and wait for death," Wan Malay said. "I don't think you have no countermeasures at all," Yu Lianlian said in disbelief. Seeing that Tang Bao was silent, she wanted to teach him step by step. Just seduce him and serve him well. "I guarantee that everything will be fine tomorrow." She said it so simply and crudely. Wan Malay was speechless. Tang Bao was speechless. "Believe me, this would be a good idea." Yu Lianlian gave her a confident look. Tang Bao felt the corners of his mouth twitch. Then, he said, "Forget it, let him be. I don't care anymore." After that, he turned around and went back to the lounge. Yu Lianlian asked Wan Malay in confusion. Wasn't this company left to her by Tang Bao's father? She doesn't care anymore? Maybe she thinks that since they're husband and wife, if Di Hao Yin wants it, he can take it, Wan Malay said slowly. Yu Lianlian was speechless. Tang Bao knew that Yu Lianlian's method was effective. There was no need for her to serve Di Hao Yin. She only needed to promise Di Hao Yin that she would go back to the castle now. But Tang Bao's small hand rested on her flat belly. She felt that she had nothing left except for her child. It had been almost a week. The situation in the company must be much calmer than the first acquisition. Tang Bao felt that her employees must be wondering why their boss was so calm. When it was time to eat, they ate, and when it was time to sleep, they slept. Tang Bao asked Yu Lian to hold a meeting with the higher-ups. She would do her best. Tang Bao stayed in the office for a long time. She was either lost in thought or looking at every corner of her office. This was where Tang Qishan used to work. She couldn't bear to change the way it was, so she kept it. She thought that after the company was handed over to T, the people here would definitely change, and the way it looked. Tang Bao felt uncomfortable. The soreness and swelling kept surging up and rushing straight to his eyes. Then, she kept pressing down on it. It was very difficult, but he had to accept it. Tang Bao thought of that time when Tang Qishan knew that she and Di Haoyan were getting married. In the end, he agreed. She wondered if he would regret agreeing to such a marriage when he was dying. In the Tang family, Tang Bao stood in front of Tang Qishan's memorial tablet. He was prepared not to cry. But as soon as he stood in front of the memorial tablet and looked at Tang Qishan's photo, he couldn't stop his tears. In the end, he cried, "Dad, I'm sorry. I can't keep the company. Are you very angry? I didn't expect that when you were alive, I was angry with you. Now that you're dead, I'm still angry with you. But I didn't work hard for her. I think you know even if I don't say it. Will you forgive me?" While he was confessing in front of the memorial tablet, his phone rang not far away. Tang Bao walked forward and looked at the caller ID. It was Di Haoyan. Why did he call at this time? Was he going to give up on the acquisition of the company? Tang Bao answered, "Hello. Have you thought it through?" Chapter 574. Di Haoyan's expression suddenly became sinister and ruthless. Then, he laughed instead of being angry. "Just you wait." After hanging up the call, Tang Bao felt that she had lost her train of thought. Di Haoyan's last four words made her face turn a little pale. Her hand trembled, and her phone slipped to the ground. Di Haoyan actually laughed. This meant that he had reached the peak of his anger. What should she do? She didn't have to panic, right? Anyway, she would take the company in the end. She had already accepted this cruel fact, so there was no need to be afraid. The next day, in the office, Tang Bao, many of the higher-ups have handed in their resignations, Juan Malay said. "It's reasonable." Juan Malay looked at Tang Bao's indifferent face and asked, "You really don't want the company anymore? As long as you coax the young master, won't everything be fine? I really don't understand why you'd rather give up the company than compromise. You weren't such a stubborn person in the past." Tang Bao's expression was downcast. "Malay, it's not that I'm unwilling to beg Di Haoyan, but Di Haoyan isn't someone who's easy to coax. He often wants much more than you can imagine." Juan Malay saw that she was so determined and said, "All right, as long as you don't regret it, I'll support you no matter what decision you make." Tang Bao looked at Juan Malay, who was worried about her. She really wanted to tell her about her pregnancy. However, she also thought about how Yu Songhuan gave her the medicine at that time. In the end, Juan Malay told Di Haoyan about it. Although she had no choice, if she really didn't know anything, then there wouldn't have been such an accident. "Thank you." Tang Bao could only say these two words in the end. Then, as if nothing had happened, she stood up and stretched. "It's time for a nap." Juan Malay looked at the closed door of the lounge. She didn't know why she could still sleep. He must have thought it through. In the lounge, after Tang Bao woke up, he looked at the time on the bedside table. It was almost 6 o'clock. She actually slept for nearly 5 hours? Walking out of the break room, Juan Malay was still sitting at his desk, facing the computer. Hearing the noise, he popped his head out from behind the computer. She asked, "Are you pregnant?" Tang Bao froze and looked at Juan Malay. "Otherwise, how can you sleep so much? You've almost become a sleeping god." Tang Bao heaved a sigh of relief. She was startled and thought that Juan Malay had seen through her. Thinking about it, it didn't seem possible. She was very careful. "With you," Tang Bao teased. "Hee, I'm not that capable." Juan Malay laughed, put away the work in his hands, and turned off the computer. "Are you hungry? I'll treat you to a big meal." I won't go to ordinary places. Hygiene is not guaranteed. TSK, the requirements are getting higher and higher. In the past, they only asked if it was delicious. Now it's upgraded to hygiene. Let's go. It's definitely hygienic and delicious. Wamale picked up her bag. When they walked out of the office, Tang Bao looked back at her office. Wamale noticed her gaze. Every day after work, she would look back like this. She didn't understand why she was so reluctant to return to Di Hao Yian's side. Was this really a test? Wamale already knew that this was not a test. Could it be that she was disheartened? Why didn't it look like it? They arrived at a high-class restaurant. Tang Bao looked at the menu and swallowed. This is delicious. This is delicious. This is delicious. Order all of them. Wamale leaned his head against hers and looked at the same menu. Okay. Tang Bao grinned. Damn, you're really not polite. Although she was complaining, she immediately pointed to another dish. This is not bad either. I feel that you'll like it. You know me best. After the two of them ordered, the waiter went down. Tang Bao looked at the scenery outside the window and asked Wamale, I've already asked Zhou Jisen to take care of the work. You don't have to worry. You're the one who has to worry the most. Wamale was unhappy. What are you going to do in the future? And Tang Bao, do you not want to be with the young master anymore? Why do you ask? You were so anxious when the company was acquired. Now that the young master has given you a chance, you don't even want it. Isn't this because you don't want to be with him anymore? Normal logic was like this. Tang Bao's slender white fingers tightened around the glass. It became even whiter and more transparent, the same color as the white porcelain cup. So what if I agree to go back? Di Hao Yian hasn't recovered his memory. It's still harmful to me. Tang Bao bit her lip, paused, and said, the possibility of me going back is negative. Wamale was stunned. It wasn't zero but negative? Just how resolute was this? You're not going to divorce the young master, are you? Wamale asked tentatively. If it really comes to this, who can force it? If Di Hao Yian wants to marry me, even God can't control him. Di Hao Yian was not only domineering and powerful, but he was also omnipotent. In addition, he was ruthless, cruel, and heartless. Tang Bao didn't care what he did. She seemed to only want to protect herself and the child in her belly. I don't think the young master will divorce you. Tang Bao was a little amused by her words. How do you know? Intuition. Then you can intuit something else. What? Will I be able to bankrupt you with this meal? Wamale's mouth twitched. You're ruthless. Tang Bao looked around. I'm going to the bathroom. I don't know where the bathroom is. I'll ask the waiter. Wamale waited at the dining table. Tang Bao went to the bathroom after asking the waiter. She stood in front of the mirror and washed her hands. As she washed, she looked at her face in the mirror leisurely. Then, she lowered her head and continued to wash her hands. Just as she lowered her head, she felt the uneasiness of a strong invasion in the air. It was so quiet that it made her heart beat unsteadily. A chill ran up her spine. Tang Bao raised her head, and another tall figure appeared in the mirror. Before she could see the person's face clearly, she felt a chill on the back of her neck with a hint of pain. Her vision turned black, and her body fell softly. However, she didn't fall on the cold and hard ground, but in the strong arms. Wamale was playing with her phone at the table. She didn't notice that the dishes were served, but Tang Bao still hadn't returned. Tang Bao did not take his phone with him. It was left on the table. It was useless to call him. It shouldn't be a problem to go to the bathroom, right? Wamale waited for another minute, but Tang Bao still hadn't returned. Why was it taking so long? Thinking about what had happened in the company recently, and Tang Bao's unnaturally calm and determined thinking, Wamale was so scared that her face changed. She stood up and went to the bathroom to look for him. Tang Bao, you must not commit suicide. If you commit suicide, I'll not let you off. Wamale rushed to the bathroom. She flushed the women's bathroom and then the men's bathroom. Chapter 575. However, Wamale didn't care. She looked around for the Tang Bao. She grabbed someone and asked, "Did you see a girl? Her skin is very white, and her eyes are big and beautiful. Why would I look at someone else in the toilet? What a pervert!" The woman who was questioned left unhappily. Wamale was so angry that she couldn't speak. She looked around the toilet, but didn't see the Tang Bao. Could it be that he went back to his seat? But there was still no one when she ran to his seat. What should she do? Just as she was so anxious that she didn't know if she should call the police, her phone rang. It was Ju. It was as if she had found her savior. After picking up the call, she said anxiously, Ju is in trouble. The Tang Bao is missing. I was eating with her just now, but she disappeared when she went to the toilet. Do you think we should tell the young master? Will the young master help to find her? Or should I call the police now? Don't worry. The young madam was taken away by the young master, Ju said. Ah, the young master took her away? Wan Malay heaved a sigh of relief. She scared me to death. I knew she wouldn't commit suicide. The word suicide doesn't exist in her dictionary at all. All right, why did the young master take the Tang Bao away? Does he want to reconcile with the Tang Bao? I think so. I hope so. I've already paid for your dinner. Eat happily. Ju hung up after saying that. Wan Malay looked at the table full of dishes. Her face was a little red as she muttered, shouldn't his voice be very gentle when he says such things? Why is it still so cold? However, it was such a waste to treat the Tang Bao to a meal. However, the Tang Bao went to Di Hao Yin. The food would be better than here. Tang Bao woke up in a daze. In her daze, she saw the white ceiling. The ceiling was pasted and wasn't clear enough. She still didn't understand what had happened. She turned around and saw a tall black figure standing there. Who was it? Tang Bao tried her best to open her eyes. When Di Hao Yin's demonic face was clearly imprinted in her eyes, her mind began to wake up. A pair of blurred, watery eyes suddenly widened, and she looked at the cold and gloomy Di Hao Yin in front of her in disbelief. You, why are you here? Wait, where is this? How did I? Tang Bao was still at a loss when he looked around, but when his gaze fell on himself, he screamed in fright. Ah! Her beautiful lines carried the immaturity of a young girl, dyed with the pink of peach blossoms due to shame, especially since her hands and feet were still tied up. Tang Bao looked at Di Hao Yin in horror. Why did you take off my clothes? Let go of me. Di Hao Yin coldly watched her struggle, his voice low and dangerous. What do you think? Tang Bao knew that Di Hao Yin wouldn't let go of her. Being stared at by such a pair of sharp eyes, she was so ashamed that she wished she could disappear on the spot. Glancing at the quilt next to her, Tang Bao moved her body and stretched out her leg to hook it. Di Hao Yin saw her panicked and struggling. He stepped forward and kindly lifted the quilt directly to the ground. You, Tang Bao glared at him with a red face. Looking at you wriggling, I'm tempted again. Di Hao Yin bent his upper body, like a beast covering the top of her body. Tang Bao was so scared that she didn't dare to breathe and forgot to struggle. Do you think I'll let you go? Di Hao Yin looked at her coldly like a devil, his breath so dangerous. Di Hao Yin, what do you want? Tang Bao looked at him warily and asked, her heart beating wildly. What do you think? Tang Bao was so scared that her mind buzzed. When she came back to her senses, she said nervously, Di Hao Yin, why do you always want to let me go? You're the one who didn't want me. I didn't do anything wrong. Why are you trembling? Di Hao Yin clamped Tang Bao's small chin with one hand and stared at her intently. Are you scared? Wasn't your courage on the phone yesterday commendable? Di Hao Yin slightly tightened his grip. Tang Bao felt pain from shock. Her beautiful eyebrows furrowed, and she groaned uncomfortably. I'm not scared. I'm just a little cold. Can you help me cover with the quilt first? She was wearing nothing. It was really dangerous to talk to Di Hao Yin, who was dressed like a beast. Cold? I'll make you hot right away. After Di Hao Yin finished speaking, he pinched Tang Bao's disobedient little face. Tang Bao's pink little face was pinched out of shape by him. It was very cute. Then, Di Hao Yin lowered his head and forcefully swallowed her face with his thin lips. Oh! Tang Bao's long eyelashes trembled in shock. Tang Bao struggled, but her tied legs could not exert any strength. She could only helplessly rub against the bedsheets. When she was about to breathe her last, Di Hao Yin pulled away slightly. Tang Bao's little mouth was already red and swollen. She was breathing rapidly with her mouth slightly open. When the oxygen allowed her to regain her consciousness, her watery eyes met Di Hao Ian's dark eyes. She panted and begged him, "Di Hao Ian, don't do this. Let me go. Didn't you hear me when I told you to go back to the castle?" Di Hao Qian suppressed the hoarseness in his voice, but it sounded even rougher. I heard you, but I also told you my condition. I'm very curious about your condition. I can't touch you. As a wife, this is your duty." Di Hao Ian said fiercely. "So what if I'm your wife? You have a lover." Tang Bao retorted disdainfully. Di Hao Ian's dark eyes stared calmly at her angry and flushed little face. Suddenly he laughed. His laughter made Tang Bao's hair stand on end and her scalp tingle. What are you doing? Didn't I say that this is your duty?" Di Hao Ian slowly straightened up and unbuttoned his clothes condescendingly. He turned a blind eye to Tang Bao's refusal. "No." Tang Bao was so scared that her whole body tensed up. She was so frightened that her heart almost stopped. At this time, would Di Hao Ian still let her go? However, if she really let Di Hao Ian continue, something bad would definitely happen. Last time was a fluke. What about this time? Thinking about how her internal organs were almost crushed last time, Tang Bao's face turned pale. "Di Hao Ian, can you spare me? I won't be fierce with you anymore. I'll go back to the castle with you, okay?" Tang Bao wanted to calm him down first and think of a countermeasure later. His shirt was unbuttoned, revealing his strong and muscular chest. The sexy lines of his muscles were very clear and full of the power of a beast. Chapter 576. However, just as she was about to roll off the bed, something tightened around her ankle, and she was pulled back. "Let go of me. Mm. Mm." Tang Bao felt a stinging pain on her lips. It was as if someone was going to eat her up. The chewing was extremely scary. Tang Bao's body trembled as if she could not bear the intensity. Her breathing was rapid, and her voice was trembling. She struggled to call out his name. "Di Hao Ian, do you like it? Didn't you say you don't want it? You're even more in the zone than me." Di Hao Ian's voice was low, rough, and excited. "No." Tang Bao did not know why she was so sensitive. Was it because she was pregnant? But she could not let this happen. She could not let Di Hao Ian touch her like a beast. Tang Bao's wrists were tied up. Then she grabbed Di Hao Ian's hair on her chest with both hands, tried to pull his head away. However, no matter how hard she tried, she could not pull Di Hao Ian's head away. She suspected that even if she pulled out a handful of Di Hao Ian's hair, he would not let go of her. It's broken." Tang Bao's body trembled violently. Her face was red as she struggled. However, her mind was racing. She could not let Di Hao Ian continue. Otherwise, she would definitely lose the child in her belly. But she could not tell the truth. She could not go head-to-head with Di Hao Ian. What should she do? She could not even struggle now. Her hands and feet were tied up. At least she needed freedom of her hands and feet. "Di Hao Ian, can you help me untie the ropes on my feet? Otherwise, it's not possible to continue," Tang Bao said. "Who said that we can't continue like this?" Tang Bao panted in extreme shame. His brain worked quickly, and he continued, "I agree to all your requests. When I return to the castle, you could do whatever you want. But can you not acquire the company?" Di Hao Qian paused and raised his head. His eyes, which were as black as hell, looked at Tang Bao, whose face was flushed red. His eyes were sharp and profound, and there was a terrifying vortex in them. Then his chiseled and cold face covered Tang Bao's small face. "Have you thought it through?" "Well, I've decided. I'll go back to the castle with you. You could do whatever you want, but return the company to me. This request isn't too much, right?" "Sure, but you have to satisfy me now." Di Hao Ian's wolf nature was too strong. His black eyes were green, and he seemed to be in danger of swallowing Tang Bao. The perfunctory smile on Tang Bao's face was a little hard to maintain. Satisfy her? Would she still be able to get out of bed after this night? Or was she sent to the hospital in the middle of the night, only to be told by the doctor that the child was gone? Okay, but Tang Bao struggled with the ropes on her hands and feet and said, "Let's untie this first. The blood can't circulate." Di Hao Ian's slender and strong, rough fingers clamped Tang Bao's chin. His voice was low and dangerous. "I don't think you can escape from me." Then Di Hao Ian untied the ropes on her feet and wrists. Tang Bao could not move her shins yet. Her chin was lifted again. Di Hao Ian directly covered her and swallowed Tang Bao mercilessly. Tang Bao held her breath and endured it. Not only that, but she also responded. While Tang Bao dealt with Di Hao Ian, her eyes turned to the side. She grabbed the table lamp and hit Di Hao Ian's head hard. Okay. A moment ago, Di Hao Ian was still excited. The next second, he was knocked unconscious and lay directly on top of Tang Bao. Tang Bao pushed the heavy body on top of him. It took a lot of effort to push Di Hao Ian aside. Looking at the unconscious Di Hao Ian, Tang Bao heaved a sigh of relief. She quickly got out of bed and looked for clothes to wear. However, she could not find any clothes. She had to wear a white bathrobe from the hotel and put on her shoes. When she walked to the door, she looked back at Di Hao Ian, who was lying unconscious on the bed with his chest open. Only then did she feel relieved and open the door. However, the dark figure outside the door scared her so much that she took a few steps back. She clutched her chest and said, "Oh my God." Hiju was standing outside the door, and there were bodyguards in the corridor. Hiju was also stunned when Tang Bao walked out. Because at a glance, he knew that she had fled. That was definitely not Di Hao Ian who had let her go. If he had let her go, why did he only come out in a bathrobe? Di Hao Ian is resting. I'll take my leave first, Tang Bao said and ran away. Hiju stood at the door and looked at the bodyguards. Without saying anything, he turned and went into the room. He saw Di Hao Ian lying unconscious on the bed. As he expected, he was knocked out by Tang Bao again. Tang Bao fled in a fluster. She knew that Di Hao Ian would not wake up so soon, so she went back to the Tang family. However, she did not dare to stay. She went back to her room, put on her clothes, took the money, and ran away. She knew that Di Hao Ian would not let her go when he woke up. Would anything happen to him after she had hit him? After all, Di Hao Ian's head had been injured before. It would not happen. Right now, her own life was in the most danger. In the hospital, the person on the hospital bed opened his eyes. His black eyes were sharp and bright. "Young Master Di, you're awake?" Hiju stood by the bed. Di Hao Ian sat up from the bed. The discomfort in his head made him frown. After a while, the discomfort disappeared. The doctor checked and said that I'm not injured, Hiju said. Di Hao Ian thought of what had happened and his eyes turned sharp. Where is she? Young madam, she ran away. Ran away? Di Hao Ian looked at Hiju maliciously. Go and catch her. Hiju immediately ordered the bodyguards to catch Tang Bao. Di Hao Ian sat on the bed with a vicious expression. She was courting death. How dare she hit him? Who gave her the guts? Tang Bao knew that she could not stay in the city. She would definitely be found by Di Hao Ian. After all, Di Hao Ian was the king in the city. He could turn the entire city upside down. Tang Bao wanted to take the high-speed rail. However, just as she bought the ticket, she saw the familiar bodyguards in the waiting hall. She was so scared that she quickly hid. She thought that she could hide and wait for them to leave. Who knew that they had been loitering around? They even ran to the ticket window to ask. Tang Bao had bought the ticket recently. If she had wasted any more time, she would not have been able to get on the train. After a long time, the bodyguards left the hall. Tang Bao immediately went to the waiting hall. However, just as she reached the entrance of the waiting hall, she saw the bodyguards coming over. When the bodyguards did not see her, she quickly turned around and ran into the supermarket next door. Why were there Di Hao Ian's bodyguards everywhere? Chapter 577. There might even be more than now. Tang Bao knew that she shouldn't stay here for long, so she turned around and left the high-speed rail station. Even if she wanted to take the train, she would have to buy a new ticket and go back to the ticket window. Perhaps those bodyguards had gone there again. It was as if they were sure that she was there. That's right. A place like this must be full of surveillance cameras. How could she escape? Tang Bao got in the taxi and her heart finally calmed down. She thought about it carefully. She couldn't just run like this. She definitely wouldn't be able to escape from Di Hao Ian's tight encirclement. Needless to say, the people who came to look for her were arranged by Hiju. She and Hiju were more or less friends, right? Plus, Wan Malay. Tang Bao saw a phone booth next to her and asked the taxi to stop. After she got out of the car, she went into the phone booth. She called Wan Malay. "Hello, who is this?" "Malay, it's me." "Tang Bao, aren't you with the young master? Have you eaten?" "Eat?" Tang Bao thought about how she could still eat when she was about to die. "I have something to ask you. Can you tell Hiju to turn a blind eye when his men catch me?" Tang Bao asked. Wan Malay was shocked. "What's going on? Didn't we eat in a restaurant and then I went to the bathroom? Di Hao Ian appeared out of nowhere and directly caught me to the hotel. I hit Di Hao Ian until he fainted. After he woke up, he sent people to catch me. Malay, you have to talk to Hiju properly. I don't want to be caught by Di Hao Ian. I'll be very miserable." Tang Bao almost cried. But Wan Marai was completely unable to recover from the twists and turns of the situation. This was too exciting. What if Hiju doesn't want to? Wan Malay was worried. After all, Hiju was very loyal to Di Hao Ian. "Why don't you try? If it really doesn't work, then there's nothing we can do." "Where are you now?" Wan Malay asked. "In a public telephone booth on the street," Tang Bao said. Not far from the public telephone booth where the Tang Bao was making the call, several cars drove past. Hiju was sitting inside. Hiju looked out of the window and then looked away. "Then where will you stay at night?" "I'll just find a small place to stay," Tang Bao said. "Small place? No matter how small the Di Hao Ian is, I can find it for you. Why did you knock young Master Di out for no reason? Can't you just bear with it? Don't you know that enduring for a while is boundless?" Wan Malay scolded her. How could the Tang Bao tolerate it under such circumstances? If he endured it, he would be eaten until not even his bones were left. Even if she had to do it again, she would do it for the child. "Okay, if you have time to scold me, why don't you call Hiju and ask? If Hiju turns a blind eye, Di Hao Ian won't be found, and I can feel more at ease." Wan Malay said helplessly, "Got it." After Wan Malay hung up, she called Hiju. Hiju picked up. When Wan Malay told him her request, Hiju directly rejected it and told her not to interfere in this matter. Otherwise, if Di Hao Ian got angry, everyone would suffer. Tang Bao didn't come out of the telephone booth. She still had to wait for Wan Malay's reply. The call came quickly. Tang Bao didn't know if this was a good thing or a bad thing. "Bad thing. Tang Bao, Hiju said that he told me not to interfere in this matter. He said that no one can interfere in this matter. What if he doesn't stop me? I want to break up with him, but he doesn't even agree to such a small request. What does this mean?" This shows that Hiju is a good person and is loyal to Di Hao Ian. Don't think too much. I don't expect Hiju to agree. I just want you to ask. If I had a phone with me, I wouldn't need you to ask. Tang Bao hung up the phone and walked out of the telephone booth. The sky was already pitch black. The streetlights were dim and bright. The traffic on the road didn't quiet down because of the arrival of the night. Tang Bao sighed sadly. She had a home, but couldn't go back. Tang Bao walked for a while in a daze and came to the entrance of an alley. Looking inside, there was a residential-style hotel. Did she need an ID card? She didn't have an ID card with her. Everything was with Wan Malay. Just as she approached the alley, a figure suddenly appeared in front of her and blocked her way. Tang Bao was shocked. She looked at Hiju in a daze. She turned around, but there was no one. She wanted to turn around and run. "You'll be caught if you run out," Hiju said. Tang Bao was stunned. What did he mean? She looked at Hiju with hope. "You're not here to catch me?" Hiju didn't answer her directly. Instead, he said, "You can't run away like this. You can't run away in D City. Then why don't you just pretend that you didn't see me? Even if you're Di Hao Ian's subordinate, the two of us still have some friendship, right?" Tang Bao tried to move Hiju with a harmless smile on her face. "I can let you go now, once or twice. But do you think it'll make sense if I can't find you? When the time comes, the young master will suspect me first. I won't take this risk." Tang Bao hesitated. She knew that Hiju was telling the truth. Di Hao Ian was such a shrewd person. Hiju wouldn't be able to get away with just a few perfunctory words. "Then what do you want to do? Go back with you now?" Tang Bao was obviously unwilling. Her face was full of resistance. I'll give you 3 days. You must return to the young master's side within 3 days. What if it's 3 days later? The longer it takes, the less patient the young master will be. When he finds you, you'll only be in a worse state. Even if it's the truth, don't say it out loud. Don't you know how scary it is? Tang Bao wailed and scratched her hair. You can stay at Malay's place for the time being. Be careful not to be found out. Hiju looked at the hotel behind him. The conditions here are too bad. You still have to eat. With that, Hiju left. Tang Bao looked at the hotel. It was indeed very bad. She didn't have a choice. Her stomach had originally forgotten that she was hungry because of her nervousness. Now that she was reminded to relax, she felt hungry again. Since Hiju said so, there was no need for her to escape in a panic. She would go to Wan Malay's rented house. Tang Bao sneaked to Wan Malay's door and gently knocked on the door again and again. Wan Malay, who was sitting on the sofa and worrying about Tang Bao, suddenly heard a rustling sound coming from outside the door. What was it? Could it be a rat? A thief? It couldn't be a thief. Her lights were still on. Which thief would be so blind? Wan Malay opened the door. As soon as she opened a crack, a person jumped in like a cat. Then the door was closed. Wan Malay, who was shocked, was stunned when she saw who came in. She was surprised. Why are you here? Chapter 578. Wan Malay thought that someone was chasing after them, so she lowered her voice and asked, Did they see you coming? No. Then why are you whispering? What if your voice is too loud and the neighbors hear that there are other people here? Di Hao Ian's people just happen to come and ask. Won't they know that you took me in? Tang Bao rolled his eyes at her. She walked to the sofa and searched left and right, but she didn't find anything. She asked, Do you have anything to eat here? I'm starving. The food in the restaurant is all packed. I can't finish it. There's still some left. Really? That's great. I want to eat. After the food was served, Tang Bao wolfed it down. Her small mouth was stained with oil, her face was stained with vegetables, and her pretty nose was stained with rice. Wan Malay didn't say anything and let her eat first. However, after Tang Bao's stomach calmed down, she said, Thank you. I'm treating you to a meal. You're welcome. If I didn't treat you to a meal today, I wouldn't have had dinner. I basically don't cook at night. It's not that, Tang Bao said as she was busy eating the rice in her bowl. Then what is it? I can stay here mainly because Hiju let me go. I think he must have helped me because of you. Hiju found you? Yes. I suspect that he saw me a long time ago. He just found the right time to appear in front of me. He said that I can return to Di Hao Ian's side within 3 days. That's the highest authority he can give me. Then he can pretend that he didn't see you. Why does he need authority? Don't you understand? If I don't go back in 3 days, the young master will definitely suspect that he's covering up for me. After all, we have a relationship here. That seems to be the case. Will you go back in 3 days? Wan Malay asked. I don't understand you. What did the young master do to make you knock him out? Tang Bao touched her nose. He wanted to touch me. Wan Malay could not believe it. Just because of this? Isn't this serious enough? You're unmarried? A pure and unmarried girl? He is your husband, and he didn't sleep with other women. Why do you have such a big reaction? Wan Malay didn't understand. I just don't want to. After the Tang Bao finished eating, he picked up his chopsticks and bowl and walked to the kitchen. Wan Malay followed him with a plate. You don't want to? Why? I think it's normal for him to want to touch you. Tang Bao bit her lip and looked at the ceiling. She hesitated for a while, then looked at Wan Malay and began to slander Di Hao Ian. He's a pervert in that aspect. Wan Malay was dumbfounded. But it's not your first time. Yeah, I didn't see it in the past, but now he's a pervert. Do you think this has something to do with amnesia? Didn't you have sex after you lost your memories? Wan Malay didn't believe it. Tang Bao's little face reddened uncomfortably. Yes, but it's more serious this time. Oh my God, I didn't expect this. Wan Malay imagined the scene. Tang Bao ignored her and walked out of the kitchen. Wan Malay came back to his senses and followed him. How is he a pervert? Why do I feel excited when I hear it? Di Hao Ian returned to the castle from the hospital. He exuded an inviolable cold aura, which spread everywhere and made people shudder. Lan Wanru saw Di Hao Ian's gloomy eyes, and her heart tightened. She didn't know what happened. She stepped forward carefully. "Brother Hao Ian, you're back? Have you eaten?" Di Hao Ian's gaze fell on Lan Wanru's face. "I told you, you don't have to wait for me to come back at night." "I didn't wait for you. I'm here because I can't sleep." Lan Wanru found an excuse for herself, but it was not believable. Di Hao Ian didn't expose her. He didn't say anything and went to the study. Lan Wanru stood in the hall, stunned. She was very disappointed. She felt that she couldn't get into Di Hao Ian's heart. Why couldn't she get in? Tang Bao had been gone for so long. Hadn't she done enough? Lan Wanru was depressed. She didn't dare to go to the study to find Di Hao Ian, so she turned and went upstairs. As soon as she went upstairs, she saw He Ju entering the hall and go into the study. Lan Wanru was stunned. What was going on? He Ju stood in front of the study and knocked on the door respectfully. A deep and cold voice came from inside. "Come in." He Ju pushed the door open and saw Di Hao Ian sitting behind the desk with a cigarette in his mouth. His face was dark and cold. He raised his black eyes and looked at He Ju sharply. "I'm sorry, young master. We haven't found young madam yet." "Can't find her? How many people did you send out?" Di Hao Ian's black eyes suddenly turned dark. "More than 200 people." "Send more people." "Yes." He Ju was about to leave. Di Hao Ian's black eyes were slightly sharp. He looked at He Ju and said coldly, "He Ju, you didn't put in the effort to find her, did you?" It was obvious that he was trying to intimidate him. "I don't dare." He Ju nodded slightly. "Within 24 hours." Di Hao Ian ordered. He Ju was stunned. He didn't expect it to be shorter than he thought. He couldn't even bear it for 3 days. "Is there a problem?" Di Hao Ian's black eyes were sharp and cold. He Ju came back to his senses. "No." Then he went out. After He Ju went out, he took out his phone. Wan Malay and Tang Bao sat on the sofa after taking a shower. Something was playing on the TV, but the people watching seemed to be a little absent-minded. They didn't feel sleepy either. Wan Malay's phone rang. She took a look at it and immediately tugged at Tang Bao to show her the message. Tang Bao saw the content of the message He Ju sent to Wan Malay. The young master wants to see her within 24 hours, so she should be mentally prepared. "So it's tomorrow now?" Tang Bao frowned. "It seems so." Wan Malay said, "I think He Ju has tried his best." Tang Bao said a little gloomily, "I know. It's a little difficult to not be able to find me in 24 hours in the capital. I just didn't expect him to force me so hard." "Then what should we do? With these 24 hours, you won't be able to run out of the capital. The young master only needs to make a call at all the train stations and airports, and no one will dare to let you pass. Even the moment you appear, you will be restrained by the security personnel. He Ju just needs to look for you in the capital. It's too easy." "Ah," Tang Bao wailed and smashed her head on the sofa. "It's so annoying. What should I do? He's the one who doesn't want me, and he's also the one who wants to catch me. He could do whatever he wants, but can't he let me go? Be careful not to hit yourself until you lose your memory." Wan Malay looked at her, torturing her little head, and reminded her in amusement. Chapter 579. Wan Malay didn't know why she asked this, but she still sent a message to He Ju. It didn't take long for him to reply. Wan Malay looked at the content and looked at Tang Bao hesitantly. Tang Bao could tell without asking. Although it made her feel disappointed, she still hoped that Lan Wanru was in the castle at this time. "Tang Bao, Lan Wanru is in the castle," Wan Malay said as she looked at Tang Bao's changing expression. "That's great. Then I'll go back to the castle tomorrow. With Lan Wanru in the castle, it'll be better." "You mean that if Lan Wanru is in the castle, the young master will care about Lan Wanru and not be perverted to you?" Tang Bao wondered why Wan Malay liked to say the word pervert so much. She thought a little negatively. More or less. Did she have any other way not to go back? If she was caught by Di Hao Ian, she would be even more finished. This was like surrendering. If she took the initiative, her sentence could be reduced. At the dining table in the castle, Di Hao Ian's gaze fell on the breakfast in front of him. His thin lips said, How long has it been since you went back? Lan Wanru, who was eating, was stunned. She immediately understood Di Hao Ian's obvious meaning. She forced a smile on her face. I also feel that I haven't gone back for a long time. Today is a good time to go back and take a look. Okay. Di Hao Ian's face didn't have any expression, as if he was just asking casually. After asking, the dining table immediately fell silent. Lan Wanru returned home alone. Li Yuhui saw her and was surprised. Why are you back? I came back to see you. Li Yuhui looked at her expression and suddenly felt that it wasn't that simple. It's Hao Ian's idea. Do you know why you lost? Where? Lan Wanru asked. Not ruthless enough. Lan Wanru lowered his head and didn't say anything. She thought that her gentleness and thoughtfulness would make Di Hao Ian pay more attention to her. But he didn't. She wanted to know what would happen in the castle if she left. Tang Bao did not go anywhere. He just walked around Wan Malay's house. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that he was restless. It was a call from Wan Malay. She answered, What is it? Are you still at home? That's right. Tang Bao collapsed on the sofa weakly. When do you plan to go? It's not dark yet. Didn't he Ju send me the message yesterday? It was already past 9 p.m. Tang Bao wanted to drag it out as long as he could. When you come back, let's have a meal together. All right then. In the evening, Tang Bao called Di Hao Ian with his mobile phone after he finished dinner. Before she made the call, she paused. What's wrong? Wan Malay looked at her and asked. I can't call. If I call, Di Hao Ian will definitely know that I'm here because you took my phone back. Won't that indirectly tell Di Hao Ian that he, Ju, is protecting me? If he wants to arrest me, the first person he should look for is someone close to me. Tang Bao put down the phone. Forget it. I'll take a taxi to the castle now. It's only 7 p.m. now. It's better to turn yourself in than to be arrested by He Ju. Tang Bao got into the taxi. When it stopped at the entrance of the European-style castle, he was not in a hurry to get out. She had been away from the castle for a long time. She didn't want to leave at all. Yes, for a pregnant woman like her, she was more afraid. Forget it. I'd better make a call first. First, he wanted to see if Di Hao Ian was still in a rage. It shouldn't be a problem to make a call here. She's already here, so it doesn't matter when she got her phone. When a call was dialed and waiting, Tang Bao was panicking. This was torture. Every second was torture. A few seconds later, the call was connected, but there was no sound from the other party. Tang Bao knew that Di Hao Ian must be listening. Di Hao Ian, I've already returned to the castle. You're not angry anymore, right? You have to know that I was forced to do it at that time. I was scared. You're so scary. I was afraid that I would get hurt, so I subconsciously knocked you out. Tang Bao found an excuse for himself first. Are you testing me? Di Hao Ian's low and cold voice was heard. No, I just hope that you won't be angry. You know, anger is bad for the body. I can't bear to do it. Tang Bao paid the driver and opened the door to get out of the car. He said something that made himself numb. He couldn't help but sweat a little. Didn't you hurt yourself when you hit my head? Now that you're saying this, do you think I'll let you go? Di Hao Ian's dangerous voice was heard again. It was a low and intimidating voice that came from the phone. Tang Bao felt his eardrums tremble weakly. I'm already back. What else do you want? Do you want me to run away now? Really, if you want to scare me, I'll really turn around and run away. Tang Bao looked like he was not joking with him. Do you think you can run away? Di Hao Ian sneered. Why can't I run away? If I didn't come back, you would have. Tang Bao felt that something was wrong as he spoke. He seemed to hear the sound of a car engine. He turned his head to take a look. Di Hao Ian's car appeared in his line of sight. It was black and as powerful as a king. Behind it was a car surrounded by bodyguards. It was a dark and intimidating sight. The call in his ear had already been cut off. Tang Bao put down the phone. She knew that Di Hao Ian was staring at her with his dark eyes. Sure enough, she couldn't run away. When Tang Bao saw the car driving over, he immediately dodged and stood by the side of the road. He was hesitating. What should he do? He couldn't run away. He might even be punished if he turned around and ran. Therefore, Tang Bao suppressed the urge to run away and stood there. When the car door opened, Di Hao Ian saw her submissive look. The anger in his heart couldn't help but rise. His face was as cold as ice. Why didn't she know the consequences when she hit him with the table lamp? With a bang, the car door slammed shut again. The car slid past him and drove away. After all the cars had passed, Tang Bao looked over in disbelief. He thought that the door was open for her to get into the car. Did they just drive in like that? Why didn't they wait for her for a while? The castle was very big. It would take her more than 20 minutes to walk to the gate. Looking at the way back, she didn't dare to walk. She could only accept her fate and walk into the castle. She thought that with Lan Wanru around, she would be more secure, right? Just like last time, when Di Haoyan wanted to make a move on Gu Linshin, didn't Lan Wanru appear at the right time to avoid conflict? Tang Bao only found a little funny. She actually had to rely on Lan Wanru to ensure her safety. What the hell? Chapter 580. The coldness in his black eyes was so clear. Tang Bao wanted to turn around and run away. But in the end, she dragged her weak legs and moved to the sofa in the hall. Then she stood there motionlessly. Can't you walk faster? Di Haoyan showed his power, his face cold without any warmth. If Tang Bao didn't want to go along with him to avoid harming herself, she really wanted to ask, why don't you let me get in the car? Will it kill you to give me a ride? The castle is so big, the road is a bit long. Tang Bao lowered her head like a poor weakling. You took 20 minutes to walk a 10-minute journey. That's because your legs are long, so it only took 10 minutes. You still dare talk back? Di Haoyan's black eyes darkened. Tang Bao pursed her lips and didn't speak. Her small eyes couldn't help but look around, only to see Zhang Li and Lian. She really didn't have the mood to respond to the smile in Zhang Li's eyes. She was looking for Lan Wanru. However, she didn't see Lan Wanru's figure. Upstairs, Di Haoyan looked at Tang Bao with a pair of sharp eyes, who constantly had subtle expressions on her face and knew what she was looking for. She's not here. Tang Bao came back to her senses and looked at Di Haoyan. Lan Wanru went back. Didn't you ask for it? Di Haoyan sat lazily on the sofa with a cold face. Tang Bao thought to herself, no way, right? You let Lan Wanru go back just because of my request. Why couldn't she believe it? The point was, if Lan Wanru went back, she wouldn't be safe here. Tang Bao had never wished that Lan Wanru lived in the castle. She had nowhere to go and was in such a pitiful situation. Tang Bao looked at Di Haoyan with a little hope. The first two have agreed, then the last one, Haoyan interrupted forcefully, don't even think about it. Tang Bao's fragile heart was in a state of panic. He said sadly and aggrievedly, can you not be like this? You have to respect me, right? In this regard, there is no need for respect between husband and wife. They can do whatever they want. Tang Bao cursed in his heart. Can you be any more beastly? If it weren't for the fact that she was pregnant, she really wanted to go up to Di Haoyan and strangle him. I'm a little sleepy. I'm going back to my room to sleep. Tang Bao did not want to face Di Haoyan again. Whether it was because she did not want to be oppressed by Di Haoyan or because she did not want to be angered to death by Di Haoyan, she turned around and went upstairs. When she returned to the room, everything inside was exactly the same as when she left. It was cleaned every day, and no one had touched anything here. Tang Bao went to the desk and opened the drawer. The three obedience for virtues and the agreement that Di Haoyan had torn apart were still inside. Tang Bao closed the drawer and sat down on the sofa. Everything here made her feel lost and melancholy. Also, after she moved in, was Di Haoyan going to do something beastly to her? There was a knock on the door, and Tang Bao was so scared that she immediately stood up. Young madam. Zhang Li's voice came from outside. Tang Bao breathed a sigh of relief. Only then did she remember that Di Haoyan never knocked on the door when he came in. After Zhang Li came in, he first looked at Tang Bao happily. Young madam, you're back. I'm so happy. That rotten chrysanthemum is gone. Tang Bao could not help but smile when she heard that Zhang Li did not forget and even called her by her nickname. I didn't expect to come back either. Tang Bao was telling the truth, because she felt that as long as she did not want to go back, Di Haoyan would definitely not care. Why did he chase Lan Wanru away and let her in? She still could not understand. This means that the young master cares about you. He only wants you to be the only mistress in this castle. No one else can replace you. Zhongli said emotionally. Tang Bao was a little amused by her appearance. How did you know? Intuition. Tang Bao thought that people these days like to use intuition to explain everything inexplicably. Ah, by the way, the young master asked me to tell you that he wants you to sleep in a master bedroom within 10 minutes, Zhongli said. I can't sleep here. There's no room at all. Tang Bao did not want to sleep with Di Hao Ian. Zhongli shook his head in fear. Seeing Tang Bao's breakdown, he quickly said, shouldn't couples sleep together? The young master can't leave you. Tang Bao did not want to say anything. She and Di Hao Ian were probably the strangest couple in the world who suffered from one-sided torture. Couldn't leave her? Knowing that Zhongli was comforting him, Tang Bao was too lazy to argue. After Zhongli finished conveying his message, he did not forget to add, Young madam, you should stay with the young master well. No one is better than the young master. Moreover, you can't resist anyway. What's the saying? It's better to enjoy life if you can't resist it. After saying that, he left. Tang Bao stood there in a daze. She was shocked by Zhang Li's words. These words were too rude, but it had to be said that this was also a negative recognition. Tang Bao paced around the room anxiously. 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. She had to go to Di Hao Ian's room in 10 minutes. He was simply a bastard and a demon. At least let her breathe when she came back, right? No, he had to be with her that night. Was it that urgent? No. The more anxious Di Hao Ian was, the more ferocious he was. He would definitely treat her like a beast later. Tang Bao could imagine that scene. Her body couldn't help but tremble. She needed to think of a way to deal with Di Hao Ian. She couldn't let him do this. It was too scary. Tang Bao's gaze fell on the bathroom door and paused. Thinking of something, her little face suddenly lit up with a smile. She just didn't know if her things were still there. Tang Bao entered the bathroom and opened the drawer inside. Her eyes lit up when she saw the sanitary napkin. She took out the sanitary napkin and tore it open. She was conflicted again. Was it safe to put on her pants so cleanly? The person she was going to deal with was Di Hao Ian. He was so smart that it was scary. When the time came, he might just check it directly. But there was no red paint here. Tang Bao's gaze searched around and then fell on her slender white fingers. Bite it? She was so afraid of pain that she couldn't care less. Biting her own hand, how torturous would that be? Tang Bao stuffed her fingers into her mouth, closed her eyes tightly, and bit down with all her strength. Because she couldn't bite it without using all her strength. Ouch, 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 ouch. Tang Bao was in so much pain that her little face was almost squeezed into a bun. Her fingers were bitten on her uniform and were dripping with blood. Tang Bao hurriedly caught it with a sanitary napkin. She didn't want to waste a single drop. She dripped a long drop on the sanitary napkin. After making it look good, Tang Bao put the sanitary napkin in her pants. After she was done, she still had to deal with a broken finger. She rinsed it with cold water until there was no blood. Then, she walked to Di Hao Ian's room. Her fingers were throbbing with pain. Chapter 581. When she arrived at Di Hao Ian's door, she raised her hand to knock. Before her hand landed on the door swung open. Tang Bao met Di Hao Ian's gloomy face. Tang Bao was so scared that she subconsciously took a step back. What are you doing? My stomach hurts a little. I went to the toilet. She had already thought of an excuse. Di Hao Ian did not speak or move. He just looked at her coldly. Tang Bao understood. She lowered her head and went in. Tang Bao looked around the master bedroom. It was spacious and luxurious, exuding a strong masculine aura. It was strong in every corner, causing extreme psychological pressure. This was a place where no woman had ever stayed. You don't want me to move back in, do you? I remember that you were the one who kicked me out of the room next door. Tang Bao questioned Di Hao Ian mercilessly. Di Hao Ian's face darkened. Tang Bao said coldly, "Did I say you can sleep here?" "No, what do you mean?" Tang Bao was puzzled. "Satisfy me, and you can go back to your room." Di Hao Ian approached Tang Bao with graceful, beast-like steps. Tang Bao's nerves were tense. She stepped back step by step. Her heel hit the sofa leg. She was shocked. Her heart skipped a beat. When she turned around, Di Hao Yian's strong chest was almost pressed against her. She almost suffocated. Her upper body was forced to lean back. Her two small hands were pitifully propped on the sofa armrest. She forced herself to raise her head and look at Di Hao Yian's unfriendly eyes. Di Hao Yan, I'm afraid. If I don't satisfy you, I won't be able to get out of bed. Tang Bao looked at him in horror. Are you praising me for having good stamina? Yes. Tang Bao felt that Di Hao Yan was really modest. What did he mean by having good stamina? He was not human at all, okay? Therefore, Tang Bao used to think that Di Hao Yan was the reincarnation of the Demon King. Don't worry. Tang Bao was stunned. I will definitely make it so that you won't be able to get out of bed. Di Hao Yan looked down at her wickedly. Tang Bao thought that he would say, I won't let you get out of bed. Then what was there to be at ease about? She was too scared. Tang Bao quickly squeezed out a smile. Actually, I also want to not be able to get out of bed, but I'm afraid that's not possible today. I'm having my period. Di Hao Yan's eyes narrowed. Really? Why don't we wait until it's over? Tang Bao carefully observed Di Hao Yan's expression and asked. Di Hao Yan's face was dark and gloomy. His dark eyes were like a deep pool of unfathomable danger as he looked at her calmly. Tang Bao felt a chill run down his spine and his eyes darted around. When Di Hao Yan did not move, she cautiously slipped away from Di Hao Yan. After she was far away from Di Hao Yan, Tang Bao had yet to catch her breath when she felt a grip on her wrist. Tang Bao was stunned. Then, she was violently thrown onto the sofa. Tang Bao screamed. Di Hao Yan, be gentle. As soon as the frantic voice fell, a shadow came directly toward her and shrouded her from top to bottom. Tang Bao was so scared that she froze on the spot. Above her was Di Hao Yan looking down at her from above. What are you doing? I already said that it's inconvenient for me. Let me go. Tang Bao was on the verge of breaking down. Di Hao Yan's hand directly attacked Tang Bao's delicate chin. His dark eyes flashed dangerously like a wolf's as he stared at her. I'd like to see if it's really inconvenient for you. After he finished speaking, Di Hao Yan's hand directly pulled her away. Tang Bao felt a chill, and her skin shivered when it came into contact with the air. It was not cold. She was shivering. The sanitary napkin stained with blood was exposed to Di Hao Yan's sharp eyes. His straight eyebrows could not help but furrow. Tang Bao nervously pursed her small mouth and carefully looked at Di Hao Yan's expression. She suppressed her panic in her heart. So, I didn't lie to you, right? Tang Bao said. When I came in just now, I told you that I had a stomachache. When I entered the castle, I felt a chill in my stomach. When I went to the bathroom, I found out that it was my period. Tang Bao smiled stiffly. You're unlucky, but it doesn't matter. After my period is over, you can touch me. When the time comes, I will definitely not refuse you. Di Hao Yan loosened his grip and let go of her. He got up from his sofa with a cold face. His tall and straight posture was so oppressive. The aura all over his body was even more fierce after his displeasure. Tang Bao finally breathed a sigh of relief. Her whole body almost went limp on the sofa. Especially when she saw Di Hao Yan's strong reaction when he stood up, she was really scared to death. She felt that she was really quick-witted. She was not stingy with her praise in her heart. Then, can I go back to my room? Tang Bao asked. After all, it was presumptuous to ignore Di Hao Yan too much. Therefore, she had to be careful at all times to ensure her safety. It was very necessary. Did I say that you can go back to your room? Di Hao Yan's oppressive body leaned slightly to the side and looked down at her evilly. What do you mean? Tang Bao asked. Then, she felt Di Hao Yan's gaze on her, and suddenly her chest tightened. Tang Bao stood up nervously. I think I'll go back to my room. Her small body was directly restrained by Di Hao Yan. Di Hao Yan, can you spare me? Can't you wait for a few days? Di Hao Yan lifted her little face rudely and kissed her little mouth. Tang Bao cried out in pain. Di Hao Yan's big hand clasped the back of Tang Bao's head and pressed it against him. Their faces and lips were tightly pressed together. Tang Bao's little face was pressed so hard that it was deformed. Di Hao Yin said, I can't wait for even a second. Can't you see? Tang Bao was not blind. Of course she could see. It was because she could see that it was scary. Tang Bao was stunned for a moment and was thrown onto the bed. Di Hao Yin. Tang Bao looked at Di Hao Yin, who had lost his mind in fear. Di Hao Yin pressed on her like a beast. His fingers clamped on her chin, and he was extremely dangerous. If you hit me with anything again, I'll chop off your hand. Tang Bao stared at him nervously. I won't hit you. It's just, I haven't showered yet. You don't have to shower. But Tang Bao was shocked by Di Hao Yin's eagerness. Tang Bao was lying on her back. Above her was the ceiling and him. Compared to real guns and bullets, this was much better, right? At least, she did not have to worry about the child getting hurt. Tang Bao blushed and closed her eyes. Di Hao Yin was definitely a beast. Even if Tang Bao could not be touched, she was still tortured by Di Hao Yin until she was weak. That was a complete mortification. More importantly, Tang Bao could not resist. In the end, she was forced to cry. When he let her go, it was already after midnight. Chapter 582. Didn't you say that I can go back to my room after it's over? Tang Bao felt that it was better not to share a bed with Di Hao Yin. Who said it's over? Tang Bao was forcefully woken up by Di Hao Yin in the morning. The lack of sleep made her groan uncomfortably, but it still couldn't stop Di Hao Yin's bestial nature. Until Di Hao Yin got off the bed, Tang Bao had to get up and get into the bathroom to wash up. When she walked, the pajamas were silky and soft, but her skin still hurt so much that she grimaced. Pulling open the collar of the pajamas and standing in front of the mirror, Tang Bao saw the terrible marks on her skin. There was not a single piece of undamaged skin. Tang Bao's face was a little dark, and she turned around to wash up. After washing up, she walked to the door. She opened the door and left without looking at Di Hao Yin, who was putting on his clothes. She felt that looking at Di Hao Yin now was horrifying. Di Hao Yin buttoned up his shirt and watched Tang Bao leave with cold eyes. His face was gloomy. On the way back to the room, Tang Bao saw Zhongli and said, Help me bring breakfast up. I won't go down to eat. Okay. Tang Bao went back to the room. She didn't want to be too close to Di Hao Yin. It was dangerous for her. Moreover, she was seriously sleep-deprived. Normally, she didn't sleep enough, let alone now that she was seriously pregnant. After breakfast, she went straight to bed. Zhongli had just walked to the hall with breakfast when he saw Di Hao Yin coming down from upstairs. His tall figure had an oppressive aura. Zhongli paused and lowered his head. Di Hao Yin glanced at the breakfast on the plate, didn't say anything, and went to the dining room. Zhongli breathed a sigh of relief and immediately brought breakfast to Tang Bao. After finishing his breakfast, Lan Wanru walked around the garden, breathing in the fresh air. Li Yuhuai hurried forward. Ani, what's wrong? Do you know why Hao Qian asked you to come back? I heard that Tang Bao has returned to the castle. Lan Wanru's complexion immediately changed. Wasn't she very disdainful? Why did I have to go back? I know that this must be her doing. Lan Wanru's eyes were filled with anger. Hao Qian actually fell for it and tolerated it. Li Yuhuai was also very angry. Who would be happy to see the duck in their mouth fly away? She's really too shameless. Lan Wanru's fingertips were tightly clenched, trembling from the force. Do you think any silly woman would be willing to leave the castle? Marrying Di Hao Yin, that was something that many women coveted. Tang Bao isn't that silly, Li Yuhuai said. Lan Wanru looked into the distance and said, It's okay. Let her be happy for a few days. I definitely won't let her go. Tang Bao slept soundly and didn't even hear her phone ring. It wasn't until Zhongli knocked on the door at noon that she slowly woke up. She stretched under the quilt and slept very comfortably. Her small face was flushed red. Zhongli pushed the door open and walked in. He was in the living room and didn't enter the bedroom. Young madam, it's time for lunch. Oh, I'll get up right away. Tang Bao thought of something and asked, Di Hao Qian went to tea, right? Yes, he went this morning. Got it. Tang Bao didn't want to face Di Hao Yin. But how long could she avoid it like this? No matter how long her period was, it couldn't be longer than a month. What should she do then? When Tang Bao thought of this, not only did her head hurt, but her chest hurt even more. She clutched her chest and got out of bed. Before walking out of the room, she glanced at her phone. The missed calls stunned her. They were all from Juan Malay. 3 missed calls. Tang Bao called back. What's wrong? Tang Bao felt that she had nothing to lose now. No matter how big the blow was, it couldn't be bigger than the blow of losing the company. I'll tell you a piece of good news. I don't know what good news there is for me. He gave up on buying Kuchun. Juan Malay's voice couldn't hide the excitement in it. Tang Bao was surprised, but it wasn't too hard to understand. After all, she had already returned to the castle. What reason did Di Hao Ian have to buy her company? Are you unhappy? Juan Malay waited for a long time, but didn't hear Tang Bao's voice. She asked, or are you so happy that you can't speak? I'm so happy that I can't speak. I knew it. How could the young master be willing to buy the company? His purpose is just to let you go back. Tang Bao, I don't know why you're so stubborn. Isn't it good now? You and the young master are husband and wife. No matter how unhappy you are, this can't be changed. What do you think? I know. Nothing happened when you went back last night, right? Juan Malay asked. No, it's good. Is Lan Wanru still there? No. That's right. What was she doing there? The young master is too cool. Juan Malay was happy for Tang Bao. In fact, according to Tang Bao's previous mood, she was also happy to see it happen. However, she had an element of insecurity on her. She was like a fragile object that had to be carefully protected and dealt with Di Hao Ian even more carefully. This was what made her the most melancholy. Tang Bao went outside for a walk after lunch. Then, she walked to the front of the rose garden. Although the roses inside were still bright, they were not as fresh and tender as before. It was as if they were dying and would die at any moment. Should she be surprised that these roses had not all been plucked? Tang Bao walked forward for a while. The swing was also there, hanging there alone. It seemed that no one had ever sat on it. It was as if it had been abandoned. Looking at it, she couldn't help but feel sad. Tang Bao walked over and sat down on the swing. She grabbed the chains on both sides with her hands and gently leaned her head on them. She swayed gently. In the afternoon, Tang Bao returned to her room and sat in the living room to watch TV. After watching for a while, she fell asleep with her head tilted to the side. She was still hugging a pillow in her hands, as if she was seeking safety. When Di Hao Ian came back and walked into the room, Tang Bao was still asleep. The tall figure stood by the side and stared at her with his dark eyes. Tang Bao seemed to feel a sense of uneasiness in the air in her sleep. She opened her eyes slightly. When she saw the person standing in front of her, she was shocked. She wanted to sit up, but her back was uncomfortable after sleeping for a long time. Well, Tang Bao sat up with difficulty. Her voice was still soft. You're back. I heard that you've been sleeping all day. Tang Bao looked up and reminded him. I barely slept last night. Are you unhappy? Di Hao Ian's face was a little gloomy. I wouldn't dare. Tang Bao patted her back, stood up, and went to wash her face to wake up. When the cold water splashed on her face, her mind was completely awake. It was fine if it was 1 or 2 days, but if it was every day, Di Hao Ian would definitely notice that something was wrong. Chapter 583. It seemed that she should go to the company tomorrow. It was better to be in the company than in the castle. When she came out after washing her face, Di Hao Ian was no longer in the room. Tang Bao didn't care. She simply sat on the sofa and continued to watch TV. She didn't know who came in and turned off the TV, but she didn't realize it at all. She went downstairs after dinner. She and Di Hao Ian were the only 2 people at the dining table. The atmosphere was silent, and only the sound of eating could be heard. Di Hao Ian didn't mention anything about the company, as if nothing had happened. Tang Bao didn't want to talk about it either. If she did, she would have to thank him. But what was there to thank? It was Di Hao Ian's fault in the first place. Tang Bao didn't know if she was too relaxed. As she ate, she opened her mouth and yawned. Her eyes immediately filled with tears, and she looked innocent and cute. As soon as she yawned, Tang Bao noticed Di Hao Ian's gaze. It was so sharp that it seemed to penetrate her body. Tang Bao smiled uncomfortably. I didn't sleep well last night. Are you doing this on purpose for me to see? Di Haoyan asked in a deep and dignified voice. Huh? Tang Bao didn't understand for a moment. Under Di Haoyan's cold gaze, she realized what he meant. She hurriedly said, Of course not. How can I fake a yawn? I don't have that ability. Then let's continue at night. Di Haoyan retracted his sharp gaze and said calmly. Tang Bao glanced at Li Yin and Zhang Li, who were not far away. Her face was hot, and she was also flustered. She lowered her voice and said, My chest still hurts. Can you slow down a little? Aren't you afraid that if you kill me, you won't have anything to eat in the future? Di Haoyan's deep gaze fell on Tang Bao's small face. Her lips were stained red by the heat as she ate. She said in a low voice, Don't you still have a mouth? Tang Bao refused directly. Find someone else. She didn't care anymore. Logically speaking, any man would be overjoyed to hear his wife say such words. However, Di Haoyan's face suddenly turned gloomy, and the exquisite food on the table almost froze. What do you think? Am I very generous? If you don't like those outside, you can look for Lan Wanru. Isn't that what you like? Tang Bao continued to be generous. Actually, I had already given my position to her on the day I left. Can't you tell? So, please don't care about my feelings. I don't feel anything now. I'm numb. Di Haoyan's expression had reached a terrifying level. His black eyes were filled with a vortex of hostility. Just as Tang Bao was feeling nervous about the low pressure in the air, Di Haoyan ordered with a cold face, Since she doesn't want to eat, take away her tableware. When Tang Bao saw Lian walking over, he hurriedly said, What are you doing? When did I say that I don't want to eat? You talk too much, Di Haoyan said. Can't I just stop talking from now on? Tang Bao's expression was extremely pitiful as she compromised, holding the bowl in front of her with both hands. Di Haoyan looked up and said coldly, What are you waiting for? Lian immediately stepped forward and took away the tableware that Tang Bao was protecting. Tang Bao was furious. Looking at Di Haoyan eating his food expressionlessly, the anger in his heart could be imagined. Di Haoyan, is this how you bully me when you call me back? Di Haoyan pretended not to hear him. Tang Bao wanted to smash Di Haoyan's bowl in his face. If you don't want to eat, then don't eat. What's the big deal? Tang Bao stood up and prepared to leave the restaurant. Di Haoyan reached over and forcefully pulled her back to the chair. His black eyes were cold. Sit here. Tang Bao fell back into the chair and did not dare to stand up again. Because if she provoked Di Haoyan, he would only become more and more violent. She deeply felt that Di Haoyan was unpredictable, unreasonable, and had a bad character. All the terrible words were created because of him. Tang Bao was forced to sit there and watch Di Haoyan finish his dinner. She was very strong-willed. From beginning to end, she did not say a word until Di Haoyan finished eating. He ordered, Take it away. Then, he left the table and went to the restaurant. Listening to the sound of steady footsteps leaving, Tang Bao's expression was extremely displeased. Then, he went back to his room angrily. Tang Bao was alone in the room with the television on. However, he could not watch it. His stomach was empty and needed food to fill it. However, Tang Bao glanced at the door of the room. It was quiet and no sound could be heard. He did not see Di Haoyan send anyone to his room. Why did Tang Bao feel like he was Di Haoyan's mistress who was at his beck and call? However, she was hungry now and did not have the energy to deal with Di Haoyan. If Di Haoyan didn't give it to her, did that mean he was letting her go? Her phone rang. Tang Bao was stunned and picked it up. Why was it the castle's landline number? She answered, Hello. Young madam, it's me. You haven't slept yet, have you? Tang Bao could hear Zhang Li trying to lower his voice as if he was afraid of being heard. No, what's wrong? I hid some food for you. Open the door a little and I'll secretly send it to you. Really? That's great. I'll open the door a little now. Tang Bao immediately opened the door a little. She did this to prevent Di Haoyan from next door from hearing her knock on the door. If she was caught, she would not be able to eat anything. The door was open a little, and Tang Bao saw Zhang Li not far away walking over quietly with the food. Tang Bao quickly opened the door wider to let Zhongli in and then closed the door. Zhongli placed all the food on the table and said, "Young madam, these are your favorite foods. Really, I used to love these when I was in the castle." "These were all ordered by the young master to make for you in the past," Zhongli said without thinking. Tang Bao's face stiffened. Zhongli noticed Tang Bao's expression and immediately knew that he had said something wrong. "I'm sorry, young madam. I shouldn't have said this. It's okay." Zhongli comforted her. "Actually, what the young master is doing now doesn't count. The real thing is that the young master absolutely doesn't want young madam to starve." Tang Bao thought that Di Haoyin not only starved his wife, but also his son. She didn't continue this topic. Her feelings were deeper than anyone else's. She sat down at the table and said, "I'd better stuff all these into my stomach quickly. Otherwise, I won't be able to eat when Di Haoyin comes." "Then you eat. I'll help you guard outside the door," Zhongli said. Okay." Tang Bao's throat was muffled because his mouth was already stuffed with food. After Zhongli closed the door, he stood at the door and faithfully paid attention to the movements in the master bedroom next to him. Thinking that the young madam was eating contentedly, he felt happy. Chapter 584. She was really touched. In the past, she got hungry easily when she was alone. Now that there were two people, it was even easier to get hungry. "Di Haoyin, if you don't give me food, someone will naturally give me food. I don't believe that you can do anything to me." Just as Tang Bao was feeling proud, the door of the master bedroom next door opened. A tall black figure appeared with an oppressive aura. Zhang Li, who was standing there, was flustered. She quickly raised her voice and shouted, "Young master!" Tang Bao, who was eating, almost choked on Zhang Li's shout. In fact, she really choked, and her face turned red. But she didn't care so much. She felt that she had to remove all the food on the table. But where should they retreat to? Tang Bao held the plate in her hand and spun around in panic. Then she saw the curtains and quickly put the plate on the windowsill behind the curtains and pulled the curtains back. She wiped her mouth with the back of her hand. There was still grease on her mouth from stealing food. Just as she finished all this, Di Haoyin came in. Her two hands were properly placed in front of her. She straightened her body and looked at Di Haoyin, who walked in. She suppressed her pounding heart and asked with a smile, "Why are you here?" Di Haoyin walked in unfathomably and asked coldly, "Can I come in?" "Of course not. I was just saying, why aren't you asleep yet? I was just about to go to bed. If you came a little later, I might have fallen asleep." Tang Bao tried her best to smile and talk to him. She didn't want others to see her guilty conscience. Di Haoyin walked towards Tang Bao quietly. The strong aura he exuded almost made Tang Bao faint. She could only force herself to deal with it. "What are you doing?" Di Haoyin's tall figure shrouded her slender figure. "Me? I didn't do anything. Didn't I say that I was just about to go to bed?" Tang Bao continued to smile, as if she didn't do anything. "He didn't eat anything?" Tang Bao's little heart almost jumped out of his throat. He laughed and almost danced with joy to express his innocence. "Of course not. Didn't you forbid me from eating it? So, I can't eat it even if I want to. Then why do I smell the aroma of food?" Di Haoyin's dark eyes stared at Tang Bao's face, which was flushed with nervousness. His rich expression kept changing. "Food? No, I don't smell anything." Tang Bao deliberately sniffed the air and said to Di Haoyin seriously, "I still can't smell anything. Is there something wrong with your nose?" Di Haoyin looked at her quietly and darkly. He had already seen through everything. As soon as he entered, he smelled the aroma of food in the air. No matter how she tried to hide the panic on her face, she couldn't escape his sharp gaze. He didn't need to look for it to know where she had hidden the food. "I have a way to find out if you're secretly eating." "What's the way?" Tang Bao asked nervously. "This way." Di Haoyin reached out and grabbed Tang Bao's little head. Then he wantonly pressed his cold face against hers. "Oh!" Tang Bao's watery eyes suddenly widened in shock. Her gaze kept flashing. Her breathing was rapid and her face was flushed. She didn't understand what this had to do with Di Hao Ian's so-called way. Tang Bao struggled to resist, but she couldn't win against Di Hao Ian's strong strength. Fish roe tofu. Di Hao Ian's thin lips pressed tightly against her little mouth. His voice was low and hoarse. Tang Bao's heart beat faster. She had just eaten fish roe tofu, bird's nest chicken steak. Tang Bao struggled hard and tried to retract her tongue. However, Di Hao Ian didn't let go. If he didn't let go, she couldn't bear the pain and tear off her tongue. Tang Bao's little hands kept pounding Di Hao Ian's hard chest. Black pepper beef. Di Hao Ian finally let go of Tang Bao. At this moment, Tang Bao was almost out of breath. She panted when she breathed in fresh air. Her head was dizzy from the lack of oxygen. Her watery eyes stared weakly at Di Hao Ian. Did you miss anything? Di Hao Ian looked at her with his dark eyes. Although it was a question, he was very confident that she didn't miss anything. Tang Bao didn't know what to say. She couldn't say anything except for panting. She didn't know that Di Hao Ian would check in this way. If she had known, she would have said it directly. She was almost out of breath because of his kiss. If you missed anything, you can continue. No, it's all right, Tang Bao said hurriedly. She was really going to die. She quickly took out the food she had hidden behind the curtain behind her and put it on the table. It was exactly the dishes Di Hao Ian had ordered. I just ate. I'm hungry. I can't sleep when I'm hungry, so I asked Zhongli to bring it to me. Then she disobeyed my order and made the decision without my permission. Di Hao Ian was not angry. No, she obeyed my order. She had no choice. After all, you said before that I was the hostess here, and Zhongli had always served me more. So she naturally obeyed me. Di Hao Ian stared at Tang Bao's little face with his dark eyes. She was clean and fair, beautiful and tender. Her watery eyes were filled with nervousness and grievance, which made her face more vivid and lovely. He had never stared at Lan Wanru for such a long time. When he came back to his senses, he realized that he had been absent-minded. On the other hand, Tang Bao looked even more nervous. She was worried that she was not persuasive enough. Di Hao Ian, don't blame Zhongli. If you want to blame someone, blame me. No, it's also your fault. I used to love these dishes. You were the one who asked the kitchen to make them. I just couldn't resist the temptation. How many more things are there that I don't know? I'm listening. You can tell me now. Di Hao Ian's face was cold, and his dark eyes were deep. What? Tang Bao was stunned by Di Hao Ian's words. You really want to hear it? But you wouldn't believe anything I said before. Whether I want to hear it or not, and whether I believe you or not, are two different things, Di Hao Ian said domineeringly. Tang Bao was helpless against Di Hao Ian's domineering attitude. She could only think carefully about what other details there were. There's one. You used QQ to chat with me. You added me without me knowing. I know. You know? Tang Bao was surprised. Did you recover some of your memory? I got the data on my phone back. Of course I know. Di Hao Ian's face was very calm. Tang Bao thought that when the car fell off the cliff, Di Hao Ian's phone must have been destroyed. He did not expect to find it back. Then do you know the content of the chat? I know. When Di Hao Ian saw the chat records, he was absent-minded because of his domineering attitude towards Tang Bao. That night, he looked through the chat records for a long time. Chapter 585. You put it on and you can't take it off. I don't know if this is considered a detail to you. Di Hao Ian grabbed her hand and tried to take the ring off. He couldn't take it off, as if something was blocking it. Ah, it hurts. Tang Bao cried out softly. Di Hao Ian glanced at her with his sharp eyes. He didn't use much strength. However, her fingers looked thin and delicate, as if they couldn't even withstand a light blow. There must be a reason why she put it on in this way. How many times did you take it off? Di Hao Ian asked. 3 times or 4 times? I don't remember. I didn't want to marry you, but you forced me to marry you. I ran away, but before I ran away, I took the ring off and returned it to you. Later, you came up with this idea, and I couldn't take it off. Tang Bao rambled on about her helplessness. Di Hao Ian's face was a little dark and cold. He stared at Tang Bao's helpless expression. So, He forced her to marry him, and she didn't use other means to get married? This explanation was not convincing, but he suppressed his anger in his heart. Because, not only that, he also found a tracker in the ring. No matter where Tang Bao was, his cell phone could track her. Moreover, it seemed that Tang Bao didn't know about the tracker. Di Hao Yin, what I said is true. I can't have done this to myself, right? Tang Bao said, afraid that Di Hao Yin wouldn't believe her. Di Hao Yin let go of her hand and said with an imposing manner, from now on, you will stay by my side. No matter what you do, you have to get my permission, do you hear me? Tang Bao's little mouth moved a little pitifully. Why? Didn't you say that as long as I recover my memory, I will understand everything? Your role is to help me recover my memory. Di Hao Yin finished speaking and turned to leave. Tang Bao looked at the tall and proud back. When she opened the door, she blurted out, Di Hao Yin, did you force me to come back because you found out about these details? Force? This is what you should do. With that, he left. Tang Bao stood there in a daze. What she should do? She should let Di Hao Yin recover his memory, right? This would be a great benefit for her. If Di Hao Yin regained his memory, then the problem of the child in her belly would be solved. She didn't have to worry about her growing belly being discovered. She slept soundly that night. Di Hao Yin did not ask her to go to his room. In the morning, she woke up with a full sleep. At the breakfast table, Di Hao Yin, I can go to the company, right? I'll come back after work. Di Hao Yin did not say anything. Tang Bao knew that this meant that he had agreed. When they came out of the dining room, Tang Bao looked at the tall figure and walked up to him. Di Hao Yin, can I ask you something? Di Hao Yin's dark eyes narrowed slightly, and his sharp gaze fell on her face. I promise you that I will stay in the castle, but I also hope that you can trust me. For example, can you trust me if something happens? Tang Bao did not want to be persecuted by Di Hao Yin because of some inexplicable things. What do you think will happen? Di Hao Yin's aura was intimidating. That is between men and women. You used to be like this. Huh? Tang Bao was slightly stunned. Because I trusted you unconditionally in the past. So you fooled around with other men? Di Hao Yin interrupted her with a cold face. Your use now is to help me recover my memory. Don't make any useless resistance. Otherwise, I can let you stay here safe and sound, but I will also make your life worse than death. You won't expect that. After saying that, Di Hao Yin walked past her and left. His fierce aura blew across her face, and it hurt a little. She did not mean anything else. In the past, Di Hao Yin had a strong reaction to her being close to the opposite sex. It was even more so after he lost his memory. He even felt that she had an intimate relationship with Di Junbai. She just thought that if Di Hao Yin was bewitched by someone again, he would believe that she was innocent. But it was obvious that although Di Hao Yin allowed her to return to the castle, he still did not allow her to violate him in that aspect. Tang Bao returned to the company. From the first floor to the floor where she was, she could feel that the atmosphere was different. During the days of the acquisition, the company was lifeless. Now it was back to normal. Tang Bao went to Yu Lianlian's office first. He was about to push the door open, but when he thought of what she had seen that day, he could not help but raise his hand and knock on the door. It seemed that her dislike of knocking on the door had been cured. He heard a voice from inside. Come in. Tang Bao pushed the door open and went in. Yu Lianlian, who was staring at work behind the desk, did not look up. She asked, What's the matter? Are you busy? Yu Lianlian was stunned and looked up. Were you the one who knocked on the door just now? Yes. Yu Lianlian thought of something and smiled. I just realized that not knocking on the door has its benefits. What benefits? I know who it is without looking. It can avoid the awkwardness at the moment. Yu Lianlian stood up and walked around the desk. President Tang, are you here to ask about T giving up on the acquisition of the company? I wanted to call you, but I thought that Malay is your good friend. It would be better for her to call you. Yes, she told me. This feeling of being pinched by the Emperor family and being able to kill you at any time is really unbearable, Tang Bao said exasperatedly. Young Master D not only controls T's life and death, but also other companies. Even if it's an acquisition, the law of the jungle is not rare in the business world. The strong have the upper hand. If you're weak, you'll be easily swallowed. Fortunately, he's just playing with you. Yu Yanlian smiled. I heard that you went back to the castle. Tang Bao looked at Yu Yanlian, not quite understanding. Shouldn't you thank me? Thank you? Wasn't it my idea? As long as she served him well, nothing would happen to her. Am I right? Yu Yanlian smiled proudly. Tang Bao could not smile at all. Yu Yanlian thought that the acquisition of the company was given up because she served Di Haoyan well. Tang Bao did not think so, but she was not sure about what Di Haoyan did to her after she returned to the castle that day. So in the end, not only could she not smile, but she was also very depressed. Wan Malay saw Tang Bao walking into the office and asked listlessly, "Why do you look like this?" "Like what?" "Like you're unhappy." "The company is fine now." "I'm very happy." Tang Bao threw his bag on the sofa and sat down. "Malay, what are we eating for lunch?" The first thing he said was food. "Don't you care about the company?" Chapter 586. Tang Bao leaned against the sofa and rested her chin on her hand as she spoke lazily. Her so-called concern was nothing more than Di Haoyan. Wan Malay looked at Tang Bao's beautiful side profile and felt that Tang Bao had been acting strangely recently. She felt that she had no interest in anything other than food. It didn't matter if the company was acquired or not. It didn't matter if she returned to the castle or not. It didn't even matter if Lan Wanru was in the castle. What was going on? Had she already given up on Di Haoyan? Li Yuhuai was also very concerned about his niece's matters. She especially accompanied Yu Songhuan to the temple to burn incense and worship Buddha. On one hand, she prayed that Lan Wanru could marry Di Haoyan. On the other hand, she wanted to coax Yu Songhuan. She served Yu Songhuan well in and out of the temple. After being in the Di family for so many years, she knew what to do. After arriving at the bungalow, Li Yuhuai instructed Annie Wang to set up the things she brought back. She brought the vegetarian food from the temple to the kitchen and was very busy. "You've been with me for most of the day. Sit down and rest." Yu Songhuan, who had already sat down, said. After setting up the things, Li Yuhuai walked over. "I'm not tired. I'm just worried that you're tired. You're the one who's busy." "How am I tired?" "Wanru wanted to come over, but she wasn't feeling well, so I came over on her behalf." "What's wrong with Wanru?" Yu Songhuan followed Li Yuhuai's words and asked. "She's been fine for a while and hasn't taken any medicine for a long time. After coming back 2 days ago, her old illness came back and I don't know how to treat it. Although she's not my biological daughter, she's been by my side since she was young. There's no difference between her and my biological daughter. She always says that she wants to be filial to you because Annie is like her mother. Let me tell you, if it was anyone else, I would be jealous. But right now, I'm only happy for her." Li Yuhuai said, gratified. "What did she go back?" "Just 2 days ago," Li Yuhuai said with some difficulty. Tang Bao went back to the castle. It's not good for her to stay there like a nobody. After she finished speaking, she saw that Yu Songhuan's expression was dark, and he did not say anything. As if trying to salvage the situation, she continued. "I think this is normal. Anyway, it's fine as long as she's happy. As her aunt, I can't say much." "You've said so much. Let's drink some tea," Yu Songhuan suddenly said after a long silence. "Oh, okay." Li Yuhuai picked up the teacup in front of him and drank some water. He didn't continue talking. She wasn't stupid. At this point, it was time for her to understand. If he said too much, it would be too deliberate. After Li Yuhuai left, Yu Songhuan said, "Even if it's not deliberate, it's still a kind of deliberate action." Annie Wang said, "No wonder. After all, she's worried for Miss Gu. All parents in the world will always plan for their children, just like the old madam." Yu Songhuan got angry just thinking about it. He put down the cup in his hand. This Wanru is really useless. Even now, she can't make Haoyan fall in love with her. No matter how useful she is, she might not be able to withstand young master's feelings for young madam. What feelings can there be? How many men can be consistent with a woman? Yu Songhuan's face was full of anger. Thinking about what happened to her in the past, his mood became even worse. Annie Wong was a little apprehensive. Her gaze changed, but she didn't say anything. I thought that Tang Bao's departure would give Wanru a big chance. In the end, it's back to square one. If I don't do anything, she'll be out of her wits. Yu Song-hwan expected better from her. Doesn't this mean that Wanru is more suitable for the D family? After all, it's easy for you to worry about a daughter-in-law who's too capable. Annie Wong said what Yu Song-hwan was thinking. Yu Song-hwan's expression became better. Li Yuhuai returned home. She didn't even have time to drink water before she went to find Lan Wanru. Lan Wanru was trimming the flowers on the balcony of his room. I say, why are you still in a mood to do this? Li Yuhuai frowned the moment she entered. Annie, what's wrong? Lan Wanru put down the scissors in his hand and stood up. You've been accompanying Annie the whole day. Did something happen? Other than your matter, what else could it be? What's wrong? I told you Song-hwan today that you're back. He said that it's not good for you to keep living in the castle without a status. I think he definitely understands what I mean. So, if Yu Song-hwan asks you anything, you have to know how to deal with it, understand? Thank you, Auntie, for worrying about me. I know. Anyway, I don't believe that we can't deal with one Tang Bao with so many of us working together. After Li Yuhuai finished speaking, she thought about what happened in the hospital that day and felt uncomfortable. She turned and left the room. Lan Wanru stood there and looked at the empty door in a daze. After a while, she said, I think Andy must think that I'm useless. Then she turned and looked at Belle. Do you think so too? This not really. Miss, you have your own concerns. It's just that you're always on the weaker side. Don't you think you're useless? Lan Wanru knew what Belle was thinking, but she didn't care. Her eyes were calculating. So what if I'm weak? It's fine as long as someone is strong for me. Miss, do you mean old madam? Anyway, I won't stand out. Tang Bao is more anxious than I am to return to the castle. She and Tang Bao have already fallen out. If she tolerates Tang Bao, will she put her face? Miss, you're so smart. If I'm not smart, I can only be a servant like you. Lan Wanru stared at the flowers and plants and said, This is the only way I can match up to Brother Haoyin. Tang Bao rarely sat in front of the computer. He wanted to find out what pregnant women should pay attention to. In particular, he wanted to find out why she always felt hot. Later, he found out that pregnant women's body temperature was relatively high. So, did she need to take off more clothes? In the morning, she deliberately wore a short-sleeved shirt and a thin jacket. If she took off more clothes, it would be summer clothes. Wouldn't others notice that something was amiss? Tang Bao silently looked at Wan Malay. Wan Malay was also wearing a thin jacket and a long-sleeved shirt. This was just right. Seeing Wan Malay get up and walk over, Tang Bao immediately closed the web page. Then he sat on the sofa. There were documents on the coffee table. She took one out and looked at it. What did you do? Wan Malay, who was about to go out, asked. Huh? Tang Bao looked up at Wan Malay with a blank face. There's sweat on your forehead. Really? Tang Bao wanted to say that he was mistaken, but when he wiped his hand was sweaty. If you're hot, take it off. Chapter 587. Why are you still so hot with a short-sleeved shirt? But the weather has been rising recently. I also feel hot, but it's not as exaggerated as you. Of course, in this office, no one will say anything even if you're naked, let alone wearing a short-sleeved shirt, Wan Malay said as he walked out. Tang Bao hurriedly took off his jacket. Suddenly, he felt his head cool down. He took a tissue and wiped the sweat on his forehead. The tissue was wet. When Wan Malay returned to the office, he saw that Tang Bao's thin and white arms were already bare. He couldn't help but whistle like a hooligan. Tang Bao, even I want to take a bite out of it. Go bite Hiju. TSK, I have to pay for it, Wan Malay said smugly. Tang Bao thought that Hiju's arms must be full of muscles. Be careful not to break your teeth. Tang Bao returned to the castle after work. When she was outside, she saw an extra car. She recognized the car. When she walked into the hall, she saw Yu Song-hwan sitting inside. It seemed that she came back early and Di Haoyin was not back yet. She wanted to be more self-conscious. Tang Bao walked slowly to the sofa. He called out, Mom. Perhaps this address was harsh to Yu Song-hwan, but Tang Bao was Di Hao Yan's wife now, so he could not call her that. Mom, when did you come? I'll ask the kitchen to prepare more food. Let's have dinner here, Tang Bao said as if he didn't see Yu Songhuan's unwillingness. This is my son's castle. I don't need to give any instructions here, Yu Songhuan said. What she meant was that the people here would only act according to her wishes. It was not up to Tang Bao to give instructions. You're right. Tang Bao didn't care about her coldness. Are you going to stand and talk to me? Yu Songhuan looked up at her. Tang Bao paused and sat down on the sofa. Yu Songhuan looked at Tang Bao with an indifferent expression and asked, Didn't I hear that you left the castle earlier? Why did he come back? Is this your trick? Are you trying to fool Hao Qian? Tang Bao did not want to accept these groundless accusations. No. So you're saying that Hao Qian forced you to come back? Yes. The displeasure on Yu Songhuan's face was obvious. She did not expect Tang Bao to have the guts to reply like that. I hope you won't be angry. After all, I'm still Di Hao Yan's wife. It's only a matter of time before I come back. Do you mean to say that you're Hao Yan's wife now? Are you trying to remind me that I can't control you because of your current status? Yu Songhuan's face was filled with anger. Mom, don't call me that. I thought you had so much backbone that you wouldn't come back after leaving. In the end, you still came back. Don't think that you're legally Hao Yan's wife now. That's just a piece of paper. It's gone just like that. After Yu Songhuan finished speaking, he stood up angrily and left. Tang Bao sat on the sofa and did not say anything. In fact, she also understood that Yu Songhuan would disdain any expression and would only make her more disgusted. In the past, she only had to deal with Yu Songhuan. Now, she had to deal with everyone, including the person who slept next to her. It was really tiring. However, she could not let herself feel tired. She even had to be in a good mood. For the sake of the child in her belly, she had to relax at all times. Zhang Li, who was standing not far away and had seen everything, saw Tang Bao leaning on the sofa with a smile on her face. She was afraid that she had been too agitated. She hurriedly ran up to speak, trying to divert Tang Bao's attention. Young madam, do you want to eat something first? The young master hasn't returned yet. Well, I want to eat the assorted noodles made in the kitchen. Can I? Tang Bao asked. Of course. Zhang Li hurriedly replied. Put more meat in it. Put more green vegetables too, Tang Bao requested. Okay, I'll go and instruct them immediately, Zhang Li said. Not to mention adding more meat. Even if it was at a sky-high price, she would still instruct them. He knocked on the door with a document and entered the most authoritative place, Di Hao Yan's office. Young master, these are passed down from Xingsun town. The people who attacked us didn't seem to be very professional. It could be said that they were like desperados, but they were bought with money. There were a total of 7 people who died that time. 6 of them had no family members. The other one had a wife who hadn't contacted him for a long time. She didn't know anything about what her husband had done. However, she said that her husband liked to hang out in a certain bar in D-City. It seemed that he had close friends, Ju said. Di Hao Yan's dark eyes narrowed as he looked at the document in his hand. He remained silent and deep. As long as it's in D-City, these people definitely won't be able to escape, Ju said. How long did I stay there? Who did I come into contact with? Di Hao Yan's face was cold and stiff. Young master, if you want to know these, I'm afraid it's better for you to go there personally. Di Hao Yan's cold eyes looked sharply at Ju. Ju's gaze fell on the ground and didn't say anything. Di Hao Yan's face was cold. He stood up and handed the document to Ju. Destroy it. Yes. Di Hao Yan left tea and got into the car. He turned on his phone and saw that the tracking end was at the castle. He silently closed his phone. After returning to the castle, Di Hao Yan took off his coat and Lian took it. Di Hao Yan unbuttoned his cufflinks and walked to the dining room. Zhang Li handed him a disinfectant towel. Di Hao Yan narrowed his dark eyes and wiped his hands. His voice was low and dignified. Ask her to come down. Zhang Li immediately said, Young madam has already eaten since she came back. He stopped wiping his hands, and the temperature in the air dropped a few degrees. It was chilling. Di Hao Yan looked coldly at Zhang Li. Zhongli lowered his head and didn't dare to breathe. Who allowed it? Young master, young madam was hungry, so I asked the kitchen to cook some noodles for her. In the past, young master allowed it. Zhongli met Di Haoyan's gaze and didn't dare to continue. Di Haoyan's face was frighteningly cold. It was as if everything he knew was the infinite indulgence he had for Tang Bao in the past. He was the one who caused all the mistakes. It's time to eat? Tang Bao's voice sounded in the dining room. Di Haoyan turned his cold face and looked at her expressionlessly, full of oppression. Can we eat now? Tang Bao asked with innocent eyes. Then he looked at Zhongli. Help me get the cutlery. There's no need for rice. I'll eat the dishes. She hadn't digested the noodles yet. Yes. Zhongli knew that Tang Bao was helping her out and immediately went down. Tang Bao then said to Di Haoyan, "Why are you so fierce to her? She didn't do anything wrong." As he spoke, he sat down in his seat. Chapter 588. To accompany you. Tang Bao grinned. Do you think I need you to accompany me to eat? Di Haoyan was still cold. Tang Bao thought to herself, if you don't need me to accompany you, why do I have to sit next to you every time you eat? You don't let me eat, and you even want me to sit here and watch. What kind of hobby is this? I think too highly of myself, Tang Bao said. After the cutlery was brought over, Tang Bao began to eat the dishes. Although she was already full, eating more nutritious and delicious dishes was not bad for her. After eating, Tang Bao was ready to go back to her room. She walked through the hall and walked up the stairs. Just as she raised her foot, Di Haoyan came up from the side. Tang Bao accidentally touched him. To be honest, she was extremely nervous about any physical contact with Di Haoyan now. She was afraid that there would be some kind of fire, no matter what kind of fire it was. However, just as Tang Bao stepped back, her foot missed a step and her body fell backward unsteadily. Ah! Tang Bao screamed in shock. Di Haoyan's expression changed slightly, and his long arm directly grabbed her waist. Tang Bao did not stay idle, even though she was panicking. She clawed at him. Ah! Di Haoyan groaned. Then, both of them fell on the stairs. Di Haoyan was at the bottom, and Tang Bao was lying steadily on top. A scene suddenly flashed in Di Haoyan's mind, the scene of him hugging Tang Bao on the bed in this position. However, the scene soon disappeared, and he could no longer remember it. This was the first time Di Haoyan had a direct memory of Tang Bao, but it made his heart beat extremely unsteady. That intimate feeling, the joy on his face, Tang Bao blushed and let go of her hand. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I was just afraid of falling, so I grabbed randomly. Di Haoyan, please don't get caught by her. Di Haoyan came back to his senses and stared at the nervous little face above him. However, no matter how hard he tried to recall what had just happened, he could not remember anything more. When Tang Bao saw that Di Haoyan did not respond or move, he just stared at her. His expression was strangely tense. I'll get up. Let go of me. Tang Bao tried to move, but he realized that the arm around his waist was still tight. Tang Bao looked at Di Haoyan's abnormal expressionless face and thought to himself, this can't be right. But something wasn't right. If he really had fire, his expression wouldn't be like this, and his black eyes would be a few hundred times deeper than usual. Di Haoyan, let go of me. Tang Bao tried to pull away the hand on his waist. Only then did Di Haoyan release her. After the two of them stood up, Di Haoyan's gaze was still on Tang Bao's face. However, Tang Bao did not want to stay here any longer. She should hurry back to her room. It would be safer there. Therefore, she turned around and walked up the stairs. When she was about to reach the top, there was only silence behind her. She could not help but turn around. However, she met Di Haoyan's deep and calm eyes, which made her heart and soul tremble. When she returned to her room, she could only walk around the room because her stomach was full. She recalled the expression on Di Haoyan's face just now. His expression was cold and stiff, but he was staring straight at her. His aura was oppressive. Did she provoke him again? However, it was fortunate that Di Haoyan was there just now. Otherwise, she would have hurt her stomach if she fell down. What a false alarm. Tang Bao did not say anything about Yu Songhuan's visit. Her current mentality was to follow Di Haoyan completely and not touch his reverse scale. Although she felt that every part of Di Haoyan's body was a reverse scale after he lost his memory, she still tried her best to avoid it. It was very tiring to be so careful. However, she had no other choice, right? It was late at night. In the master bedroom, Di Haoyan was sleeping, but he seemed to be dreaming of something. The dream was very deep. He kept digging deeper into it, only wanting to know more. The laughing girl in front of him had her back to him. He chased after her and reached out to pull her hand. The distance between them was very close, but when he grabbed that hand, it felt like a long, long distance. He grabbed that small hand in his palm and squeezed it tightly. The figure with her back to him was pulled back to him. Just as he was about to see that face, Di Haoyan suddenly opened his eyes. He was awake. He sat up from the bed. The room was dark. Di Haoyan's figure was deeper and more abrupt than the darkness. Only his heavy breathing could be heard in the quiet air. In the room, Tang Bao was sleeping peacefully. A dark shadow stood silently in front of the bed. A large shadow covered Tang Bao's slender body. Tang Bao was completely unaware of the danger of her room being invaded and was sleeping soundly without any precaution. Di Haoyan's sharp and deep eyes stared at Tang Bao without blinking. He felt that it was right to let her go back to the castle. Perhaps it would not take long for him to remember everything. It had been a few days since Tang Bao returned to the castle. Everything was very peaceful. She did not feel at ease getting along with Di Haoyan, but at least there were no conflicts. Tang Bao felt that it would be good if things continued like this. Her only hope now was that Di Haoyan would quickly recover his memory. If he did not recover, how could she hide her belly when the time came? Every night, she had to drip her blood on the sanitary napkin just in case. It was really painful. 3 of her fingers were bitten by her. The 4th was her index finger. Her neat fingers were bitten by her. It looked like she was torturing herself. She also had to hide it so that Di Haoyan would not notice anything unusual. However, when she was drinking soup at dinner, Tang Bao forgot that she had bitten her index finger. When she held the spoon, she felt a pain. Ah! Tang Bao cried out softly. When she noticed that Di Haoyan was looking at her, she immediately pretended that nothing was wrong and laughed. The spoon seems a little hot. Let me blow on it. After that, she pouted and blew on the handle of the spoon. After blowing on it, she picked up the spoon and continued to drink the soup. It did not hurt because she changed the way she held the spoon. It's cold. It's okay. Tang Bao proved to Di Haoyan. Who was Di Haoyan? Even if he lost his memory, he was still sharp and shrewd. He grabbed Tang Bao's wrist. Tang Bao was shocked. Then, when she found that the wound on her finger was exposed to Di Haoyan's cold gaze, her expression changed. I accidentally hurt it. Tang Bao wanted to withdraw her hand, but her wrist was too strong. She could not retract it. How did you do it? Di Haoyan's expression did not improve. Instead, it darkened. I want to know how you did it. Chapter 589. Tang Bao learned about his habit of stealing not long after Di Haoyan lost his memory. Even if he didn't deliberately find out, someone had told him about it. Yu Songhuan had said it before. It was because of her habit of stealing that they got married in the end. Tang Bao felt that his entire hand was numb. He couldn't help but remind him, Di Haoyan, it's numb, it's numb. Di Haoyan glanced at him coldly and let go of his hand. Tang Bao's wrist hurt a little after exerting force, so he couldn't help but rub it. Just as he was about to eat, Di Haoyan said expressionlessly, Have you never been caught stealing before? Yes, but you solved it. Even if others know that you steal, because you're Di Haoyan's person, no one dares to make things difficult for you, right? Ah, yes. Tang Bao was embarrassed to say that he was the one who let him steal without restraint. Perhaps even Di Haoyan, who had lost his memory, wouldn't believe that he would be so stupid. You don't have to bear with it. Just maintain the way you were before. Di Haoyan continued to be stupid. Tang Bao acted as if he didn't understand and asked, "You mean I can steal as I wish?" "No need. I'll be embarrassed if you do this. This is not for you, but for me to regain the way I used to be." Tang Bao was speechless. She really thought too highly of herself. She thought that Di Hao Ian was suddenly so easy to talk to. She was overwhelmed by the favor. However, other than stealing, she would cooperate with him in everything else, because she also hoped that Di Hao Ian would quickly regain his memory. She took out the phone in her pocket, swiped on it, and typed. After she finished typing, she paid attention to Di Hao Ian's expression. She asked, "Di Hao Ian, are you using QQ? I sent you a message. Take a look." Di Hao Ian took out his phone and swiped it open. Tang Bao quickly moved her head closer, but Di Hao Ian looked at her coldly. Tang Bao quickly retracted her head. How stingy. He couldn't even look at her. Sure enough, people with amnesia had distorted personalities. Di Hao Ian opened the button, and the beautiful Bao inside sent a few words. Moshi moshi. There was even a jumping pink bubble at the end. Di Hao Ian narrowed his eyes, pursed his lips, and put the phone back into his pocket expressionlessly. "Di Hao Ian, didn't you reply to me?" Tang Bao asked. "Do you still want to eat?" Di Hao Ian asked sternly. Tang Bao could almost guess the next sentence. "If you don't want to eat, then get out." "I'll eat." Tang Bao buried his face in the bowl and ate. The next day, Tang Bao was sitting on the sofa in his office, holding a document in one hand and a pen in the other. Suddenly, she thought of something and put the work in her hands aside. She took out her phone, opened the button, and sent a message to Di Hao Ian. "Beautiful Bao, master, calling master." After sending the message, she waited for a long time, but there was no response. "Beautiful Bao, master, calling master." After sending the message, there was still no response, like a stone sinking into the sea. Tang Bao was not discouraged and continued to send the message. "Beautiful Bao, master, why didn't you reply to me? Little cutie is sad." She even added a crying cutie cartoon emoji at the end. Di Hao Ian looked at the messages that kept popping up on the phone screen with a dark face. After opening the button last night, he did not close it again. Tang Bao looked at the phone that did not respond and thought, did he see it and not reply, or did he not see it? Just as she was thinking, a reply came. "Master, what's the matter?" Tang Bao was stunned and then felt a little happy. Was he touched by her perseverance? She didn't know what Di Hao Ian was thinking. She just thought that even if Di Hao Ian felt a little familiar, it would be fine. She had tried to make Di Hao Ian regain his memory, but failed. After she gave up, Di Hao Ian said that she should stay by his side until he regained his memory. Tang Bao was willing. Whether it was her sincerity or her helplessness in the end, she would do her best to mend this gap. Perhaps it was because Tang Bao thought of all the things in the past. She typed 3 words and added countless ellipses. "Beautiful Bao, I miss you." Di Hao Ian looked at the 3 words. His heartbeat was abnormal, and his breathing was a little heavy. Most importantly, a certain part of his body was hot. It was as if a seductive woman had seduced him, making his black eyes extremely deep. After sending the message, there was no response. He did not want to talk to her anymore. Tang Bao could guess Di Hao Ian's reaction, so she was not very disappointed. If he really replied, it would be abnormal. In the afternoon, Tang Bao returned to the office after using the bathroom. When he saw Wang Malay resting inside, he said to her, "I'm going to take a nap." "Why do you take a nap every day?" Wang Malay stood up. "Let's go shopping." "We haven't gone shopping in a long time." "Wait for me to wake up. It'll be dark by the time you wake up." Wang Malay glared at him. She realized that not only did Tang Bao sleep every day, but he also slept for a few hours and did not wake up until after work. If she wasn't the big boss, she would have thought that she was deliberately slacking off. "Let's go on Sunday." Tang Bao was determined not to go shopping with her. He went into the lounge and closed the door. Wang Malay was no longer in the mood to play with her phone. In the past, whenever she tried to seduce Tang Bao, she would definitely run out faster than she did. Now, it was as if she had no desires. She was really not used to it. Tang Bao entered the lounge and went into the bathroom to take a shower. She had no choice. She was especially afraid of the heat now. When she had lunch at noon, she was sweating all over. Tang Bao stood under the shower and took a shower. Although this place was not as spacious as the castle, it was well equipped. It was all thanks to Di Hao Yin's evil intentions that this lounge was built. After taking a shower, she dried her hair and walked out of the bathroom refreshed. However, a ghostly figure suddenly appeared in the lounge and scared Tang Bao. "Oh my God, you scared me to death." Tang Bao took a big step back and patted his chest. Di Hao Yin, who had just entered for a few seconds, looked over. Tang Bao, who had just taken a shower, was only wearing thin pajamas. Because she was going to sleep, she did not intend to wear anything else. Di Hao Yin's black eyes stared at her and could not help but squint deeply. Tang Bao noticed Di Hao Yin's dangerous gaze and hurriedly covered her body with her hands. She carefully observed his expression and asked, "Why are you here? Didn't you say that you missed me?" Tang Bao staggered as she walked toward the bed. She stared blankly at Di Hao Yin's calm expression and unfathomable gaze. You didn't reply to me, right? So I sent someone over." Tang Bao immediately waved her hand and smiled stiffly. "You're too polite. Don't take it too seriously. I'm just saying. Since you said that you missed me, of course I have to do something." Chapter 590. She said anxiously, "Wait a minute. My period hasn't left yet. I'll know if you're lying when I see it." Di Hao Yin took a few strides and arrived in front of Tang Bao. His tall figure loomed over her. "Don't!" Tang Bao was easily thrown onto the bed. Di Hao Yin's figure covered the sky and covered the earth. Tang Bao looked up in fear and dizziness. Her two pitiful little hands hurriedly supported themselves on Di Hao Yin's strong and sturdy chest. "If you're not afraid of breaking your hands, continue pressing down." Di Hao Yin's voice was dangerous. I'm really on my period. You know that." Tang Bao was so anxious that her forehead was sweating. She felt that the bath just now was in vain. "How many days has it been?" 5, 6, for days. Before Tang Bao could finish her words, she felt a chill on her skin. Di Hao Yin's dark eyes darkened, and his breathing became obviously heavier. "Di Hao Yin, don't do anything rash. Although I didn't put a tampon on, that's because I don't have one here. My period usually takes more than a week. You just lost your memory. If you really touch me, the bed will be stained with blood, even though it won't be full of blood." Tang Bao was so frightened that her voice trembled when she saw the change in Di Hao Yin's eyes. "Can't you wait? Wait for 2 days?" Di Hao Yin kept staring at her, but did not look away. He seemed to be in a mental struggle. When Tang Bao saw this, she retracted her hands from Di Hao Yin's chest. She lifted her upper body, pouted her little mouth, and directly pressed her thin lips against Di Hao Yin's thin lips. Their warm breaths immediately intertwined. The soft and gentle touch made Di Hao Yin's breathing become heavier. His dark eyes moved slightly, and he finally looked away. After about 3 to 4 seconds, Tang Bao pulled away slightly. She pursed her lips in embarrassment and carefully looked at Di Hao Yin's expression. "Are you stopping me or starting a fire?" Di Hao Yin's voice was hoarse. "I'm stopping you." Tang Bao told the truth and looked at Di Hao Yin with an aggrieved expression. "Actually, if you want to regain your memories, this method is not right and not scientific, right? When I want you, I'm not trying to regain my memory. What? I want to be with you." Tang Bao's little mouth trembled. Did it have to be so simple and crude? If I remember correctly, I needed to be with you every day before I lost my memory. Di Hao Yin looked at her coldly, revealing the truth in front of her. This made Tang Bao did not know how to solve this problem for a moment. But it's really inconvenient for me right now. When I was bathing just now, I found that there was still some blood. Tang Bao could delay it for as long as possible. A stalling tactic could be discussed later. Seeing that Di Hao Yin was silent with a cold face, Tang Bao could not help but shrink back, until she was out of Di Hao Yin's shadow. Tang Bao took off the corner of her torn pajamas and crawled under the quilt, covering herself tightly. Looking at the motionless beast that seemed like it would explode at any time, she whispered, "I've been working all morning. I'm a little tired. I'm sleepy. Do you want to go out for a while?" Di Hao Yin endured the burning sensation in his body, got out of bed, and turned to leave. Tang Bao thought he was going to leave the lounge. She did not expect him to go into the bathroom. "Di Hao Yin, what are you doing?" Tang Bao wanted to get out of bed, but when she thought about how she could not even protect herself, why should she care about Di Hao Yin? He should be going to the bathroom, right? Just as she thought about it, Tang Bao heard the sound of water coming from a bathroom. Tang Bao tensed up. What was he doing? Could he be taking a shower? Di Hao Yin was taking a shower here? Why? What did he mean? Tang Bao did not understand. Was he going to do something to her after taking a shower? This did not seem like Di Hao Yin's style. If he wanted to, he would not stop at the critical moment just to take a shower. He would treat her like that and directly achieve the effect he was satisfied with. Then, he would carry her to the bathroom to take a shower. Then, when the two of them were taking a shower, he would be interested again and continue with her. Anyway, the night was more or less the same. They would toss and turn in the bathroom longer than they did in bed. When they returned to bed, if he was the easygoing side of him that night, then they could sleep. If he was the easygoing side, then Tang Bao would take 2 showers in one night. Tang Bao came back to her senses. What was she thinking about? Why was she thinking so far ahead? She was so angry that she hit her head with her hand. At this moment, Di Hao Yin came out of the bathroom and saw Tang Bao hitting her head with her hand. Tang Bao saw Di Hao Yin coming out of the bathroom. His sexy figure, strong muscles, and long legs made her heart beat faster. Di Hao Yin, what are you doing? Tang Bao's 2 small hands clutched the blanket tightly. Taking an afternoon nap. Di Hao Yin did not even look at her and went straight to bed. Tang Bao looked at Di Hao Yin lying next to her in horror. His chiseled side profile made it impossible for her to read his emotions. Are you taking an afternoon nap here? Di Hao Yin turned his face. His dark eyes were so deep and unfathomable at such a close distance. It made her feel flustered. Or do you want to do something? No, I don't want to. Tang Bao hurriedly waved her hand. When she realized that her hand had let go of the blanket, she hurriedly grabbed it again in panic. Di Hao Yin had already put out the fire after taking a cold shower. Then, when he saw Tang Bao's tender white little hand and her timid look, the fire that had been extinguished began to rush back again. He directly pulled her over violently. Ah. Di Hao Yin, what were you doing? Oh, Wan Malay, who had just come back from the office, paused in her footsteps. Why did she seem to have heard an unusual sound in the lounge? Tang Bao should have already gone to bed by now, right? There shouldn't be a problem, right? Wan Malay was a little worried as she approached the lounge. Then, she heard Tang Bao's voice from inside. No, what are you doing? Wan Malay felt that something was wrong. Tang Bao was not the only one inside. Who was the other person? One of the voices was Tang Bao. Who was the other person? The young master? Wan Malay didn't dare to go in. She turned around and left the office. There was no one outside the office. Who should she ask? What's wrong? Huh? Wan Malay turned around in shock and saw Hiju suddenly appear. Then, since you're here, does that mean that the person inside is the young master? Yes. You scared me. I thought it was someone else. I was just about to find someone to confirm it. Now that I see you, I know what's going on, Wan Malay said. She thought of something and asked, have a young master and Tang Bao reconciled? Chapter 591. Even Di Hao Yin came here to sleep with Tang Bao. The young emperor hasn't recovered his memory, so it's hard to say. But the general direction shouldn't be wrong. Because there were some things that, even if Di Hao Yin didn't want to admit it, it had happened and couldn't be erased. Wan Malay and Hiju stood not far away from the door, feeling a little awkward. She thought that she shouldn't stand here, right? But thinking about it, why should she hide? This was her territory. Hiju should be the one to leave, right? It was as if the two of them would feel especially uncomfortable if they didn't find something to talk about. And Wan Malay knew that Ju was a very boring person and basically had nothing to say. Not to mention for him to take the initiative to start a topic. And Wan Malay, who had always thought that he was very talkative, wasn't at his fingertips at this time. Then how long are you guys going to be here? Wan Malay asked. Ju lowered his gaze slightly and landed on Wan Malay's face. Wan Malay's face was burning before he said, looking at the young emperor. Wan Malay suddenly felt extremely awkward and wanted to find a hole to hide in. Ju obviously couldn't make the decision. The topic he started was simply too lame. Ju obviously saw Wan Malay's uneasiness clearly. He felt that this was quite interesting and didn't need to say much. But Wan Malay didn't think that way. He racked his brains to find a topic to ease the awkward situation in front of him. In the past, the two of them basically contacted each other on the phone. The number of times they actually met could be counted on one hand. It was also thanks to the meeting between Tang Bao and Di Hao Yin. Then you've been with the young emperor for so long. Do you think... Wan Malay had just found a topic that he thought was very natural when he was shocked by a scream from the office. Wan Malay stood there in a daze. If the person screaming inside was Tang Bao, she would definitely rush in. But the person screaming just now was Di Hao Yin. What was going on? Logically speaking, in terms of strength, shouldn't Tang Bao be the one at a disadvantage? Wan Malay's puzzled eyes looked at Ju. Ju just frowned and didn't say anything. Do you want to go in and take a look? Wan Malay. He really had other thoughts. Looking at the situation inside, Tang Bao must have done something terrible to Di Hao Yin. Wouldn't he cripple Tang Bao the next day after he regained his senses? If they rushed in, they might be able to stop the murder. However, Ju only said 4 words, wait and see. At this moment, there was silence in the lounge. Di Hao Yin sat on the bed. His face was gloomy and dark, and his cold eyes were staring straight at Tang Bao. Tang Bao sat on the edge of the bed, almost trembling. If she took another step back, she would fall off the bed. I didn't do it on purpose. Please don't be angry. I really didn't do it on purpose. Tang Bao's face turned red and white. She was really afraid that Di Hao Yin would tear her apart at this moment. So you did it on purpose? Di Hao Yin's low and intimidating voice sounded like it came from hell. No, I didn't do it on purpose. I was too anxious just now, so... Tang Bao didn't know what to say about what he had done. When Di Hao Yin grabbed her hand forcefully, Tang Bao was scared out of her wits. She thought that he was going to do something to her. She nervously pulled her hand away. He looked at Tang Bao's terrified expression as she tried to explain herself. Di Hao Yin's mood was really bad, and he was extremely angry, especially when the pain in his body reminded him that he couldn't wait to tear her apart. Di Hao Yin suppressed the anger in his body and lay down on the bed. His face was cold and hard, as if every line was sharp. When Di Hao Yin made a move, Tang Bao's nerves were straight up. She didn't expect Di Hao Yin to lie down directly. What was the meaning of this? Was he going to sleep? Di Hao Yin, shut up. Di Hao Yin's voice suppressed his anger. Tang Bao quickly shut up. Her cherry red lips pursed pitifully. In fact, she wanted to say that she would let him sleep on the bed and she would go out. Since he didn't want to listen to her, she would get off the bed herself. Therefore, she gently lifted the quilt, turned around, and got off the bed. She also wanted to leave this dangerous situation as soon as possible. Did I say you could leave? Tang Bao's back stiffened and she couldn't move. She slowly turned around and bumped into Di Hao Yin's pair of deep black eyes that were as sharp as an eagle's. You seem to want to take a nap, so I'll let you have the bed. Tang Bao didn't finish her words and couldn't go on. Then she obediently climbed onto the bed and laid down under that powerful and oppressive gaze. After seeing her lie down, Di Hao Yin withdrew his murderous gaze. The lounge was so quiet that one could almost hear their own heartbeats. It was full of tension and uneasiness. What happened just now could be said to be hair-raising. How could it be so easy to calm down? Tang Bao even felt that she couldn't sleep at all. However, she underestimated the powerful symptoms of her drowsiness after pregnancy. A minute later, the sound of her even and soft breathing could be heard. Di Hao Yin's side profile slightly froze. He turned his black eyes and saw Tang Bao's sleeping little face in the depths of his gaze. It was so quiet and sweet, as if nothing had happened just now. Staring at this white and cute smiling face, Di Hao Ian's restlessness and violence gradually calmed down. In fact, he didn't come here to eat her. Instead, he had been absent-minded ever since he received the 3 words Tang Bao sent him. The stock market graph and financial news had become the background of his thoughts. He just wanted to know what Tang Bao thought of him. Then, he came to the company. Just as he thought at the beginning, he didn't come to this company to eat her. Unfortunately, she had just taken a shower. Her seductive appearance after taking a shower occupied his nerves. It was as if as long as he saw her, he wanted to touch her and touch her. Perhaps it was because she looked too young. Her white skin easily made men have the urge to abuse her. However, with his status as the king of the supreme capital, no matter what kind of woman she was, she would flock to him like a flock of ducks. Therefore, he thought that he was obsessed with her after losing his memory. When Tang Bao woke up, she was the only one on the bed. There was no sign of Di Hao Yin in the lounge. She looked around the lounge with sleepy eyes after waking up. There was no sign of Di Hao Yin. Only then did she completely relax. She scratched her head with her fingers. Fortunately, her brain was still intact. She thought that after sleeping for a while, her life had already ended. It was too dangerous to be with Di Hao Yin. Chapter 592. The door of the lounge was pushed open without warning, scaring Tang Bao. Wamalei stuck her head in and looked at her with a smile. I knew you were awake. I ordered some snacks. Do you want to eat together? I'm a harsh boss now. Don't slack off at work, Tang Bao said seriously. I know, my good boss. I've finished my work. I'll continue to find things to do after eating. Wamalei was too lazy to refute her, who was the one who said that it was best to eat some snacks after sleeping. She gave full marks to the excuse she found for herself. That's good. I didn't misjudge you. Wamalei was speechless. By the way, how did you know I was awake? Tang Bao asked. She came in just at the right time. Young Master D is out. Then you're done. Wamalei said calmly. You mean Di Hao Yin just left? Tang Bao couldn't believe it and turned to look at the time. She calculated the time. Di Hao Yin had stayed in the lounge for 3 hours. He actually slept for so long? This was unbelievable. Tang Bao was puzzled as she lifted the blanket and got out of bed. Oh, seeing this, Wang Milai immediately let out an extremely ambiguous sound. Tang Bao didn't know what was going on and looked down. Not only was her pajamas in a mess, but they were also torn and loosely opened, revealing a large area of skin inside. She was so scared that she immediately shrank back into bed and hid under the blanket. She blushed and chased Wamalei away. Get out. Hey, what's there to be embarrassed about? Even if I didn't see it, I know what you two are doing inside. I'm a virgin, and I'm not blushing. What's there to be embarrassed about? Wamalei hugged the door and refused to leave. Tang Bao's small face raised into a gloomy smile. You still have a nerve to say that. A virgin doesn't even blush. I don't even know what you've been through. Even if you haven't eaten pork, haven't you seen pigs run? Then between you and He Ju, who's going to take the initiative in the future? Tang Bao's words hit Wamalei right where it hurt. Wamalei's expression suddenly became unnatural. He tried to cover it up by shouting, I'll tell you, hurry up and get up. Otherwise, I'll eat all your snacks, and then you won't even have any soup to drink. After saying that, he turned around and left. Tang Bao looked at the closed door and thought to himself, little guy, you want to fight with me? When he took a shower at night, Tang Bao, who was wearing pajamas, squatted in the bathroom. He held a sanitary pad in one hand and looked at his scarred fingers with the other. For a moment, he did not know what to do. This was the reason why she didn't want to come to the castle in the first place. She couldn't stand Di Hao Yin's beast-like desires. Now that she was faced with such a predicament, she could only try her best to deal with it. This was dripping blood on a sanitary pad. How long could this method last? Apart from this, what other way could she stop Di Hao Yin's beastly nature? Just when Tang Bao was unable to do anything to her scarred fingers, the bathroom door opened without warning. Tang Bao was so frightened that her hand trembled and the sanitary pad fell to the ground. Di Hao Ian's tall figure stood in front of the bathroom door. His eagle-like, sharp black eyes stared at the frightened Tang Bao. Then, his deep gaze fell on the sanitary pad. Tang Bao's little heart trembled. She came back to her senses and quickly picked up the sanitary pad on the ground and threw it into the trash can. When she stood up and faced Di Hao Ian, there was a stiff smile on her little face. "Why are you here? This is my bathroom. Can you knock on the door before you come in?" She felt that she was very polite when she said this. She also hoped that Di Hao Ian would know how to write the word polite. However, Di Hao Ian was expressionless from beginning to end. It was as if his behavior was normal. "What are you doing here?" "Me? I'm not doing anything. I'm just studying. What material is this sanitary pad made of? Why does it feel a little uncomfortable?" Tang Bao's brain was working quickly. She tried not to look like she was lying. Di Hao Ian was expressionless and unfathomable as he walked forward. The pressure he brought was even stronger. Tang Bao's legs were a little weak, but she forced herself to hold on. The closer he walked yesterday, the lower her head was. Di Hao Ian's deep and sharp black eyes looked down at the black top of her head. His low and intimidating voice was frightening. "I'm thinking that the blood on your sanitary pad can't be the blood on your fingers, right?" Every nerve in Tang Bao's body instantly tensed up. Her head buzzed and her face flushed red. However, she immediately reacted and retorted with a laugh. "How is that possible? How can the blood on my fingers be the blood on the sanitary pad? Don't say that. It's so mushy just thinking about it." After saying that, she even cupped her face with her two small hands and looked very embarrassed. In fact, she was very frightened. Was Di Hao Ian a ghost? How could he guess this? Di Hao Ian reached out and clamped his slender and strong fingers on Tang Bao's beautiful but tense forehead. His black demonic voice was deep, and there was no trace of warmth. Tang Bao felt her chin being lifted and could not help but tense up. It was as if she was in danger of being torn apart by Di Hao Ian at any time. Her breathing became rapid, and the fear in her heart was overflowing on her face. "You can play tricks behind my back where I can't see, provided that I don't find out." After Di Hao Ian finished speaking, he let go of her and turned to leave the bathroom. Di Hao Ian's threatening words were like a sharp weapon pressing down on Tang Bao's body, making her breathless for a long time. It was as if Di Hao Ian had seen through the scheme of the bleeding sanitary pad, but because he did not catch her on the spot, he let her go. Therefore, although Tang Bao was not caught by Di Hao Ian just now, she was as frightened as if Di Hao Ian had caught her. Her body staggered 2 steps back and sat on the soft stool. She sighed deeply and helplessly. She was still thinking of other ways to deal with Di Hao Ian. Now, her mind was really in a mess. Her entire mind was occupied by fear. She could not think of anything and did not dare to think about it. Seriously, how did he break into the room? Tang Bao was so angry that she kicked her feet. She thought of something and ran out of the bathroom to the door. Before she entered the bathroom, she locked the door just in case. It was obviously opened by Di Hao Ian. She had forgotten about Di Hao Ian's omnipotence. The atmosphere at the dining table in the morning was a little depressing. Tang Bao deliberately lowered the sound of chewing food in her mouth. Di Hao Ian's face was cold and stiff from time to time. Di Hao Ian did not seem to see her and only focused on eating his breakfast. Then he finished eating and left. Chapter 593. Liam was speechless. Zhongli was speechless. I definitely won't be able to digest breakfast with him. This feeling is simply too uncomfortable. Tang Bao shook his head and said. After saying that, he noticed that Li Yin and Zhong Li's expressions were a little strange, especially Zhong Li, who seemed to be frightened. Tang Bao seemed to have just felt a gust of cold wind behind him. When he turned around, he almost spat out the food in his mouth. She was so scared that she quickly stood up and took a few steps back. Di Hao Qian, who left and then came back, looked at her with a gloomy face, as cold as a ghost. Why did you come back? Are you not full? Do you want to eat more? Tang Bao quickly said to please him. Why? Aren't you afraid of indigestion? Tang Bao was nervous. It seemed that he heard her. He quickly explained. How could it be? You must have heard wrongly. You don't know how happy it is to eat with you. At this moment, she wanted to cry, but had no tears. However, she had to say this. She didn't want to die. Di Hao Yin didn't say a word. With a cold face, he glanced at her and then turned to leave. After the steady and powerful footsteps disappeared, Tang Bao was still worried and slowly moved to the door of the restaurant. He didn't see Di Hao Yin's figure. He really left. Tang Bao Kai let out a sigh of relief. But at this time, she didn't dare to say anything behind his back. Who knew how Di Hao Yin would appear in front of her? At night, in the study of Di Ling Yue's house, Di Junbai was called in. At this moment, he was sitting on the sofa. Di Lingyue was sitting on the chair. Have you not been in contact with Tang Bao for a long time? Where is she now? Castle. Since you know her castle, are you indifferent to all this? Di Lingyue saw Di Junbai's calmness and felt angry for no reason. I remember you told me to stay away from her. You can't accept her. I won't accept her. I didn't ask you to stay away from her. You can make use of her. This was Di Lingyue's true intention. Di Junbai remained silent and didn't say anything. He looked straight ahead as if he didn't reply to Di Lingyue's words. Why aren't you talking? I heard that Di Haoqian is investigating you. After a moment of silence, Di Junbai looked at him. Investigate me? Investigate what? I didn't do anything corrupt in tea, and he doesn't have anything he can use against me. Although Di Lingyue wanted Di Haoyan to die every day, he had never done anything corrupt in tea. All he wanted was tea's power. He wanted to have all the power in his hands. Therefore, he had nothing to fear in this aspect. It's not about that. What's that? Di Haoyan was attacked and fell off the cliff. Di Junbai said calmly. Di Lingyue's face tensed up. What did you say? He's investigating this? How do you know? I only heard about it. But there's no smoke without fire. Di Lingyue's face turned serious. Even though he only heard about it, he was still scared. I did it perfectly. Even if he finds out about the bodies, he won't be able to do it. He won't be able to find out that I'm the one who ordered him to do it. Di Haoyan has always been a person who would do anything to achieve his goals. After what you said, will you be able to sleep peacefully at night? Di Junbai's voice wasn't loud, but it made Di Lingyue feel heavy. If he's really investigating, I won't let him find out. I just hope that you'll be careful and not get caught by him. I don't want anything to happen to you. Di Junbai said. Di Lingyue looked at him unhappily. Since you're so worried about me, you should do something for this family. If Wanren marries Di Haoyan, she'll be a safeguard even if the matter is exposed. Di Junbai didn't say anything. He stood up and prepared to leave the study. His slender hand stopped just as it landed on the doorknob. He turned around and asked, You said that you met Tang Bao at the hospital with Mom? Yes, she was at the gynecology department. She said she was going to kidnap a specialist. She's really something. Even Uncle Yu felt that this matter was strange. Most importantly, that person was strange. Why did she marry Di Haoyan? What's wrong? Is there a problem? Nothing, I'm just asking. Di Junbai opened the door and walked out. He was thinking, why did Tang Bao go to the gynecology department for a checkup? Was she not feeling well? However, he didn't want to talk about this illness. Why did she run away when facing a doctor? Why did she kidnap a doctor? Tang Bao left the company alone at noon. She was going to walk around somewhere else. She walked for a short distance. She knew there was a children's store there. Tang Bao hesitated for a moment. She couldn't control her desire to take a look, so she went over alone. However, she didn't go in. Instead, she looked at the small clothes and shoes outside the window. They were so small and cute. She wanted to touch them. However, she didn't want to be too obvious about the children who weren't known. She could only look at them from afar with longing eyes. Across the road, a car stopped. The car window was lowered slightly, revealing Di Junbai's face. He looked at Tang Bao, who was standing outside the children's store. When he turned around, he accidentally bumped into someone beside him. Tang Bao subconsciously covered his stomach, which made Di Junbai's eyes move. Then, his lips curled up into a smile. The TV was broadcasting a donation drive for an orphanage. Moreover, that orphanage was the one that Tang Bao School organized for voluntary work when he was studying. The reason for the donation was that a little boy in the orphanage had leukemia. They didn't have the money to treat it, so they used this method of relying on the general public to live on their own. Tang Bao looked at the drive on TV and suddenly felt pity for him. He picked up the phone next to him and was about to call the number of the sponsor when a call came in. He saw that it was Juan Malay. He picked up. "What's wrong? Have you watched the TV?" Juan Malay asked. "Are you referring to the donation drive for the orphanage? You watched it too?" "I was shocked when I saw it. I remember that little boy when we went to do voluntary work. At that time, he was very healthy, lively, and cheerful. How did he get this disease after a year?" Juan Malay's words were also filled with heartache. Even if he didn't know him or hadn't been in contact with him before, when he heard such news, he also felt bad. "I don't remember it, but I'll sponsor it. I've already sponsored it, and I'm in a hospital now. You can come over," Juan Malay said. Tang Bao was surprised. He always knew that Juan Malay was very kind, but he didn't expect her to act so quickly. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.